And we're live. Oh, okay, it's working. I was not certain if it's working. I think we are back live. Yeah, sorry about the difficulties, technical ones, everybody. So yeah, the stream is not so pretty like it was. Just a quick fix. Hopefully, it's gonna be fine, more or less. And let us know if you hear us good. How is the sound volumes and so on, because everything had to be set up completely from zero.
Yeah, this was all a bit unexpected. Hope everything is working. So a lot.
And we had a lot of development in the game so far. So maybe you can walk us through, Rasmus, more or less what happened while we were. Oh, the Jesse name tag I forgot to
Yeah.
change. I to change that. Thank you.
Yeah. A lot happened in the game. So we left it at bishop f5, I think. So white played knight e5 here, trying to open up the bishop. So black has to take, and she did. Now the bishop is attacking the pawn on b7, so black replied with queen c8. Yeah, now she played queen e2. I don't know if there might have been something more concrete in this position. I have the feeling, because after queen e2, bishop h3, it looks like black is kind of solving their problems now, because the bishop is the main problem for black in the position. Otherwise, like, the queen can become active, and she just managed to exchange the bishop here after bishop h3, queen f3, takes, and now she managed to play with tempo queen e6. She's attacking the bishop, and if Ju would have taken on f6, like, the pawn on b7 is hanging, but the problem is the rook is also hanging. So white would need to move the rook, and black could just play b6 or something like that, and black has the bishop and really no issues in the position. So instead, Tan went back with the bishop to b2. So the b7 pawn is still hanging, but now Ju played a very nice move, I think, knight e4. Just cutting off the diagonal for the queen. And yeah, even black has a threat of knight e2. Sometimes knight g5 and queen h3 is also an idea. So Tan played Tan played rook d1 first, protecting the pawn, the square on d2. I was about to say Tan played knight c4, but that would not really work here after b5. And if you move the knight d2 is a double attack. So rook d1, rook d8 happened, and knight c4. And that's the current position. What do you think about the developments in the last few moves, Thomas?
Yeah, it seems like the impression is that this is the game Joe wants. He is just playing positional chess, and no sharp lines, no way to make anything crazy on the board. So she's just in her element, and because of that, also she is very comfortable on time. And the main strategy of pushing on time also is not working out too well for Tan Zhongyi. So yeah, so the general impression by me is that so far, Black has won the opening stage of the game, I guess, and just gonna be. I guess they'll be looking just to finish the game from the if you're white here, just to escape somehow to some equality.
Yeah. I like I said at the beginning of the match, the most important thing is not to lose here, and I lose in this game, because if she's down 2 points on the match, it can be very, very difficult in a World Championship match. And I have the feeling that Black kind of solved all the opening problems and might even have the slightly easier game here. And she's already trying to get aggressive here with b5, attacking the knight. So where do you think the knight should go? Probably to e5 would be normal.
At least you're attacking something if you put the knight on e5.
Mm-hmm.
The knight on e4 at least is under attack, so that's...
So let's try.
Some
Knight
hope
e5.
that it's...
Okay, knight a5 is the other move, but yeah, it can be a bit offside if you don't get the knight to c6 or something, and the knight is pretty well protected on e4, so I don't see why knight c6 should become possible. So probably knight e5 would be the logical move.
After knight e5, do we dare to play f5? Is it weakening a move, or does it only make us our position more easy to play?
No, I think it's a relevant question. But yeah, it's of course a bit double-edged. Like after f5, the bishop will be open forever. Like you cannot block it anymore with playing f6 instead. And maybe knight d3, knight f4 or something might be an idea. So I don't know.
And just taking the d5 square and...
Yeah, just trying to play.
So let's say something like c4, just creating a passed pawn immediately.
Yeah, I guess white should play knight f4. And you probably go... So there's also this knight h5 idea, maybe. I was also asking myself, like knight g5 is also always a question. I don't know in which position, like in this position, knight g5, maybe. Because if the queen leaves the diagonal here with queen e2, there might be some queen e4 ideas.
Ah, okay, so there you can even be an attacking ideas. That's
Yeah.
very, very true. Yeah,
So,
for me, these kind of positions are super, super uncomfortable to be playing, especially if you want to be playing for a win in any way. You're playing with the white pieces. It just feels like it's just that it's dangerous, very, very dangerous.
Yeah, you have to be really careful. Like here, for example, I think after f3, the idea would be, what I thought would be that black can take probably on f3. Queen takes f3 and rook takes d3. And after queen takes d4, the rook is protected in the end, and it's just black is playing for a win. But I guess knight d3 is just a bad move. That's not really necessary. But on the other hand, like black is maybe threatening bishop f6. I'm drawing a bit too many arrows here.
Yeah, we can just put the moves on the board. If you have like line instead of just arrows, we can just show it with the moves immediately.
But honestly, I don't know what the white move would be. Like bishop f6 is really an annoying threat. So maybe even knight e5 is a good move. Another move for black would be maybe knight g5 here would also be an idea. I don't know.
Because if you move the knight, then at least knight gets to c6 if you don't play f5. So maybe there is...
Yeah. No, for sure. Like we don't just want to go back to f6 because then knight c6 or something would come. But like knight g5 would also be an interesting move. Maybe. But maybe it's not such a big deal if black gets the queen to h3. Maybe even queen h5.
Even that is an
g4.
idea. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So many ways that it can go wrong.
Yeah, so I mean she's thinking here. So and the only other move would be knight a5. So maybe it's kind of more solid to go there. Because now at least after f5, bishop f6 is not really a threat. Still there are these knight g5 ideas and so on, but okay, the knight is kind of out of play on a5, but it's also not really.
What about some idea
Not,
just to eat
yeah.
the knight with queen b6?
Ah, yes. Yeah, that's maybe a reason why f5 is very good.
Or alternatively, we can take and bishop d8. Although then knight has b7 square. Yet bishop v6, it still could be stuck, even in these kind of scenarios.
Yeah, it could become dangerous here, honestly, for white. I don't know
Or
what the white move would be here.
e4,
that's
creating c4 square, and maybe protecting the knight.
Yes, that's an excellent move. Yeah, so if we go b4, that would be horrible. Okay, not so horrible, but really not what we want. So maybe a6. Also some concrete ideas. But knight d2, there's queen c6, yeah. Probably. Maybe not. Maybe knight d2. So my idea would be queen c6 and then rook d6. And I'm just trying to get to the diagonal. If I can get queen e4 at some point, it will be really, really dangerous for the white king.
Yeah. So always, whenever we don't have a fianchettoed bishop and the queen starts attacking, or together with knight, or just in general, somebody starts attacking, it just gets scary so fast.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe knight d2 is a problem, but queen e2 is probably possible here. And yeah, then we need to have an idea with black.
Perhaps here?
Yes.
Just all out attack. I don't know
Yeah,
what it
yeah.
leads to.
I mean, you're
Something.
kind of getting into some kind of pin, but on the other hand, if it works, then it works.
Yeah, but you
Like
could be
bishop
just
c1, bishop f6.
pinning yourself so much that you are unable to unpin later.
Yeah. Okay, the thing is there. Okay, we're getting into some crazy lines here, but some knight c6 or something.
Well, that's the natural state of any moment I'm thinking about the position. As boring as it is, I always manage to get it into some crazy crazy direction.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, I have the feeling we went a bit deep here. It might not really happen, but at least I think we're discussing typical ideas in the position.
But
Like this
95
f5
f5
move.
is in the board, yeah?
Knight a5. Knight
Knight
e5.
e5, knight e5 and f5, that's been played. Yeah.
Okay, let's try to get fewer arrows. So the thing is, bishop f6 is the idea for black, yeah? And what I
He has to
suggested
solve
was knight
problems.
d3. But knight d3 seems to run into this knight g5 problem. So there I'm not really convinced. I mean, we would like to play h4. But the problem is just after bishop f6. We just have a problem here.
Knight is kind of trapped there on e5.
Yeah, and after knight d3, black could even sacrifice the rook here. And if you take back, the bishop is hanging. If you take on f6, I have this intermediate move, and black is just winning in the end. So what do you think white should do here, actually? For me, not immediately any move comes to mind, to be honest, apart from knight d3.
No, it really is worrying. The position is just worrying. Maybe just try to get 2 rooks off the board and
Yes, I
survive.
was thinking the same, yeah.
It's just like, just take, and rook d1. But it just looks like we're gonna collapse somewhere, right? Just...
Yeah. At least for sure it looks like white is just trying to hang on in the game. Yeah, I don't know Maybe we can take and bishop f6. Like takes, bishop f6. And what does white do here? I mean, not so much choice. Probably knight d3 has to be played. Because
F4 seems to be
if you
leaving.
play f4, these light squares there, they will really be painful. This is such a
but
bad positional move.
After knight f4, knight d3, the position is not that bad. We survive.
Yeah.
At least for the time being, but we survive.
But yeah, it's just a game for 2 results if we get into this. Like, even if I just play this endgame, this could be... I could imagine this just to be dangerous for white if we get some c4, c3 quickly. Also, black has these queen c6, knight g5 ideas, and so on always. I don't really like this.
But at least it doesn't feel like we're losing immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is a position already so bad. I can't imagine. I mean, it doesn't look so illogical what white has done so far, but I guess just giving up this bishop on g2.
Okay, I get the offer something like
great.
just something along my kind of lines. What about g4?
Wow. Okay, I didn't think of that move at all. Maybe first take and then g4.
Oh, maybe, yeah, that's rook on f5 is not pleasant.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it works also immediately.
Yeah, because we have rook takes d8 in case of some stuff. Maybe it's good to have, not to have to, because if you take and g4, then rook d2 is gonna come pretty badly.
Yes. Yes, that's just winning. Should we show that? Yeah. Takes. No, just a double attack on b2 and d2 and f2, and black is just winning, I guess. Wait, g takes f5? But I guess queen d5, yeah?
Queen d5. That's simple.
Yeah.
Very simple, very effective. Because we also have bishop hanging on b2. It's just
Yes. And if you take the bishop, the knight is hanging in the next move, so I guess white is losing material now. But okay, let's try a suggestion g4 immediately. Okay, so
okay,
g4.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I thought I was muting just one scene that I'm adjusting at the same time, but I muted everything just for a second there.
Okay.
Thanks for pointing it out, and my apologies.
Somebody also wrote this f5 g4 idea in the chat, so it's really a relevant one. So what would black do here? If knight g5, we are in time to take an f5. Or we could also just go queen c6. As soon as we get this queen c6, it's all quite harmonious somehow. But yeah, I don't know. What moves do you see here for black?
Yeah, one thing is, I guess, to understand, do I really want to take here or no? How serious that is of a move.
Okay, my idea, maybe knight d2 is probably
Yeah,
possible,
knight d2. If something works tactically for black, then could be connected with knight d2 here.
So I have the feeling white should stay on the diagonal. And bishop f6 is also still an idea, so probably queen c6 should be a critical question. And now... Okay, I'm asking myself if rook d6 works or not. I don't know. Can we take on c5 or b5? But g4 is also hanging. I mean, this could...
No,
I'm
queen
fearing
c6,
for white here.
I don't think we can go queen c6. Maybe some more solid square.
Yeah.
Queen f4? No, is it more solid? It's not, probably.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, as soon as we take on g4, like, I have all these ideas on the diagonal.
So perhaps I first take on a...
Yes, that's
here.
possible.
Ah, no, but I don't manage. The rook takes e5, it's just there, so nothing is gonna work for me anymore.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
It's
Maybe...
uncomfortable.
Yeah. Okay, maybe queen e2 is critical. Just to attack the knight on d2. But I guess queen d5 is... Ah, but queen d5, maybe knight f3 you take.
What?
Yeah, that would be a problem. This would be a complete disaster. But what do you do after queen d5? I mean, we're pinned, so if white gets bishop c3, it's all fine, but how do we get there? Like f3?
Maybe f3, just, or king h3. No, f3. No, f3 will be just takes, right?
Yes.
We cannot deal with this. Yesterday we had all the time these typical ideas covering the diagonal, maybe here as well.
Ah, yeah.
But
probably just f takes e4, yeah.
And we don't actually have any threats.
Yeah, the problem is as soon as e3 comes, you also protect the knight. So yeah, I have the feeling this g4 move. It's also a bit risky, yeah.
No, certainly, yeah. It's just like...
Yeah.
But what else to do? Like, what is the simple move here?
I mean, knight d3 was the first one that came to mind, but
maybe
it
queen
might just
e2.
be a problem. Yeah. Ah. Okay, that's a classy move. Yeah. Now you can just put the knight to f3 and everything is perfectly protected.
I can do also normal moves, you know. It's not so bad.
No, this move is extremely good. I'm sold on this move. She should play this one for sure.
It protects the bishop. There's no pin.
Yeah.
Knight can go back to f3. We also attack
you even
on
attack
d5.
the pawn. I mean, I think
it could. On a6 we could play even some lines with a4 sometimes. Like we have this option at least in there. But she opted for knight d3.
Ah, okay. No, I guess it's just not so easy to see this as a candidate move. I didn't think about it, but as soon as you mentioned it, I really liked it immediately. But
yeah,
knight d3 was also the first move that came to mind for me. Sorry?
It's just method of elimination, like nothing was working, so we just tried. And
so what did we say here? We already looked at this.
Knight g5 was unpleasant. It was very unpleasant.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what is the idea. She kind of needs to stay on the diagonal. Like we check queen e2. But how? Queen b7? Even rook b8 or rook d7. I don't know which one. The question is, like, if I play rook d7, can white take on b5? Just to be completely greedy, and after queen e4, I go to f1.
You know, but
and
I
just
can always
pray
even
that
play
it's a
rook
draw.
d8.
Ah.
I don't even need to win immediately.
Yeah, but you do, yeah. You don't need to win immediately, but that's exactly what to do. I mean, I just lose material here.
Yeah, so that is... Oh, maybe we do need to leave the diagonal simply and find a way somehow to survive there. Or what?
Yeah.
Queen at 4? It was losing, yeah?
Maybe, yeah.
Anyways. No, but
I
bishop
think we didn't check it
is
yet.
somewhere.
Yeah, I'm so worried about this, but we will just try to play f3 and pray that I can't get your queen away from the protection of the pawn on f3.
Yeah, that is exactly just praying, not calculating.
Yeah. It's so dangerous. Yeah, but queen c6, you go f3, so I need to come up with something here for black. Somehow h6 or something comes to mind, but it's a bit slow. I just to protect the knight on g5 and enable black to play bishop d6. But I don't know.
Yeah, well, so let's try. I mean, just to go somehow very, very directly.
Yeah, you're
Forward
the
like...
guy for the direct moves. So what do you think here? Yeah.
Actually, can I still try on this
Wait,
side?
wait. Wait, I think this is just losing for white, no? Wait, queen c6? f3, knight e6? Your queen is kind of trapped, yeah.
Oh, you took away my safe square, making it not so
Yeah,
safe.
queen e5, bishop f6. And if you take, you have the discovered attack, and black is just winning, right?
Yeah, that is not good. That is not too good.
That's a big problem, yeah. Okay, you don't have to play f3, but I guess even the same move if king f1, also knight e6.
So it's not a square for queen on f4 to be.
Yeah, it's also felt a bit shaky.
So on queen e2 there was something bad, right? And maybe now we have to include knight f4, intermediate move.
That's extremely smart again. It's so tricky. Yeah, that was the idea of knight d3, but I just thought I need to react to move my queen after knight g5 at knight f4. Yeah.
You know, like the moment we like conclude that all the queen moves are losing, then we try to look for something else.
You're excellent at this method of elimination. I still need to practice that. Okay, so queen c8, maybe? I don't know. Or queen b6. Maybe queen b6 is more normal.
Or queen h6. Although
Yeah.
h4... No, we
Yeah,
have not.
I just
Yep.
thought after queen h6, like now, I just always want to keep my queen on this diagonal. So that was kind of my reason for queen
Oh, yeah.
c8.
What I'm blundering is that I don't have queen h3 check.
Yeah, that would be nice to have, but you don't really. So now I can go to h5 or e2. I guess queen e2. And it kind of looks okay now. Right?
Yeah, that's true. Now it looks okay. Now, actually, I think that black's position after c4 was better than what's now after knight g5.
Yeah. Yeah, she didn't play knight g5, yeah. Probably they're thinking, calculating stuff like this. The thing is, if black's playing slowly, it's a bit unpleasant, like this open bishop. Sometimes you can maybe attack the pawns on the queen side.
And she
And knight
was
d5 might be an idea.
she was doing very well also on the time. But now, after this last few moves, she has already fallen down to 35 minutes. So on move 21, if she keeps this pace, then in 5 moves time, she could end up in time trouble once again.
So...
Okay, but if knight f4 is an idea, maybe we can prophylactically take care of it somehow? Okay, my ideas, of course, are this kind of.
Yeah, I was thinking the same, yeah. Actually, yeah. Okay, I was also thinking bishop d6, but g5. That's excellent. Okay, it's also a bit risky, but like this idea with g4 and then to go on the diagonal with knight g5, queen c6, and you can't block with f3 anymore. That could become dangerous.
Yeah, but this diagonal is so open. It just feels so scary.
But it's difficult to get the white queen there, so... Okay, maybe queen h5, just to pretend that I have some threats. I don't know what my threats are, but maybe black needs to be careful of queen h6.
And we have to be really concerned also about some c4 ideas now that knight f4 is not possible any longer.
Yes. Oh, c4 looks very strong, yeah.
Since after c4 and like, I don't know, takes or not take, just now it's
even
hard
c3.
to untangle, yeah. Oh, c3 is...
It's just winning a piece. Yeah.
And g5 she played. Ooh,
yes.
Nice.
Strong. We predict... Okay, I don't know. We predicted the right square for sure. Knight g5 or pawn g5.
Yeah, but it makes perfect sense. Like, it looks like a wild move when you look at it just separately, but when you just think that all the white's defensive resources are based on knight landing on f4, then you just take away the square and knight e1 immediately.
Immediately, let's start. She kind of expected this move. But knight e1, I don't know.
I just feel like black is dominating the game. Like, white is in big trouble.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Question is how big, but for sure black is the side pushing here. Knight e1 looks so passive somehow. But I guess, yeah. Already. Okay, she just... It's probably just prophylaxis against c4 also. I guess if she would have played queen e2 like c4, it's sometimes already a big threat. Just to push the pawn. What do you do here with your bishop? a3 is not a square. Yeah, so that might be the reason why she played knight e1.
Yeah, so she probably just played this line, and then while when June was thinking, she realized that after g5 it's not okay, and now she's just pushing on times. So just playing some moves faster when...
Yeah, I was honestly a bit worried, like during the break when we were off, that it looked like there were quite a few exchanges and so on. I was a bit worried that it might become quite a dry game, but now it's really heating up here.
So do we just improve the queen side, or do we attack on the king side?
Yeah, I like this g4 idea, honestly. So especially now when the knight is away from d3. It cannot go to f4 so quickly. And maybe this knight g5 idea.
Okay, we got a retreat, I would imagine. Maybe f1? No, so it's blunders. Knight g3.
Yeah, you need to be careful. Yeah? So knight d2.
Yeah.
Knight g5 here.
And maybe now we do manage to make some route to f4 in a way.
Okay, but yeah, knight f3, you need to play king h1 or something. Yeah? This looks so scary.
Yeah, but everything looks scary once the pawn lands on g4.
Yes, yes.
We are generally lacking piece activity, and without it, everything just feels very scary.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to do something more concrete, honestly, because I have the feeling if it gets to some position like this, it could already be lost long term. I don't know.
I see that Jesse, nothing is gonna stop her from coming up with the new chess terms. I'm very, very glad to see the high spirits.
A huge humble
we
bundle.
need those. We need new chess terms, so that's great. Yeah, so the original one that I learned yesterday was, how was it? Knight on f8, and there is no mate.
Yeah.
And so that is.
I don't know about this knight on g2. There will be no mate. I mean, I could imagine this would be mate. But still, it's just blocking the diagonal. It's doing a good job. But yeah, honestly, I would like to find something better than allowing this.
But here, actually, is there checkmate? What about h4?
Ah,
Just getting some space.
yeah, that's smart. Yeah, I mean, if knight h3, king h2. So
The knight is
probably
stuck maybe there.
you should just take it. En passant is forced.
But at least there's no threat in this very
Yes,
move.
yes.
So we can...
Mm.
And we can hope that black goes somewhere imprecise and this bishop starts playing. There is a weakened pawn structure.
Maybe bishop e5 or something. Just to get the bishop to defense. I would like to play bishop f4. It's not so obvious that black is crashing through here on the king side with h2 or anything.
But we do have an extra pawn. Healthy extra pawn, I think.
Yeah,
So...
but I mean, if I take your knight on g5, then I come with queen h5, knight f3, and I'm kind of stabilizing maybe.
Okay, let's say I skip a move.
Yeah.
With a6.
And so what's your idea?
And I want to just defend with
Yeah.
h6 here.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. Just protecting it.
Although now this is a
Mm-hmm.
new square.
Yeah, knight e1, knight on e1, there will be no mate. Yeah. No, the knight is the best friend of the king. That's a normal saying for sure. It's a very good defender. King g7. What's your idea? Ah, you want to be ready on the h file as well.
And yeah, also for that. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I guess
Because
I'm kind of defending now.
if you do go for this endgame, I mean, it's not like it's lost, but it's
Yeah.
just so
Black is
nice with
pushing
this.
for sure, but maybe the worst is over. It's kind of probably defendable, I guess.
Okay, so this h4 idea can save, I guess, still, in a way. But anyways, like, I guess we also don't need exactly knight g5 now. We can do some other moves. Like, she played bishop f6 now in this moment. One move ago without g4, but maybe also we could play just bishop f6 now and just feel comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, of course g4 is a big decision. But because you're kind of giving away the f4 square, but on the other hand, you get all of these squares on f3 and so on. Sometimes I can play f3. I guess here after bishop f6, white might take. And, okay. Ah, you can take with the...
Oh, this is hanging.
Yeah, because b5 is hanging. And then you can retreat to c4 with check.
Okay, so that is... So let's return to the game.
She played bishop f6.
Here, immediately.
Yeah, kind of a bit more solid move. Jeez.
But now maybe we don't have to allow all those ideas. So what happens if you just take on f6? What do we recapture with?
I would guess she takes with the queen, no? I would guess. I mean, the knight on e4 is so strong.
But perhaps she would like to play g4 and open the queen e4 square and the checks. But yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you take with the knight, if g4, I can always go to b7 again. I think. Okay, not so clear. Yeah, now white might also exchange the rooks, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. And then we
Yeah.
have similar endgame,
Mm-hmm.
like previously discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, I think queen f6 is more logical.
I
Like the
do
knight is
agree.
really well placed. Why? No reason to move it back.
But I must say that bishop f6 is once again like the super solid move.
Yes, yes.
And it feels like there was a way to capitalize on advantage more. Even just the knight g5 line, it feels like it's better than what's now on the board. But Ju and June, when she's risking to go lower in time, she realizes that Tan is pushing on like on the clock, and she often opts for some safe options, which like keep her just in a comfortable territory, rather than going for big calculation war, even if it's objectively better for her.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of normal when you're getting pushed on the clock, that you're trying to minimize the risk and not risk being in some time trouble where you need to calculate a lot of stuff. And but yeah, I mean, of course, in her match situation, it makes sense to be solid, especially with black. But I mean, if you get a big chance, then
It's only +1.
yeah, if you get a big chance and can capitalize and go to +2, that's a really, really big step.
Yeah, +2 with 6 games to go. That is very tight
Yeah,
spot to be in.
yeah, I guess yeah. Her plan is just to play for 2 results, which is of course a good situation. But
Okay, I gotta ask, what
yeah,
about g5?
yeah,
It is obviously the wrong move, but just for the idea, it has to be checked.
yeah. I guess takes.
Piece sacrifice. Oh no, there it takes, okay. Oh, it's a
Maybe
mate on
queen e6
f1.
now. Yeah.
Just can take. There's a mate on f1.
Ah, yeah. Okay,
Here,
that's a
knight on e1 doesn't
problem as
help
well.
exactly.
Yeah. Also, queen e6, I guess.
Yeah, okay, so no g5 now. Okay, so let's
No.
say g4 is somewhat a threat sometimes. And what if I just
Mm-hmm.
play very slow h3?
Yeah, that's very sensible. Yeah, I'm asking myself, is the idea to go knight c3? Probably, yeah.
Oh, knight c3 could be nice.
Yeah,
Since
probably
it
immediately.
forces the exchange. So they are going for this though. You
Ah,
can
she
stick
took.
to the game.
Ah, it makes
Since
sense, yeah.
now rook c1, yeah? No, rook
Mm-hmm.
d1 immediately.
And she's still on 53 minutes, yeah. But as I said, like Zhu Wenjun is, in my opinion, she is handling her time well. I don't think she is in any time trouble here.
No, no, no,
Like
not now.
28 minutes, yeah. But
Like,
maybe she was worried, like if she plays a bit more concretely with g4,
yeah, if we have like 30
it will
minutes
be
and
complicated, yeah.
we play this line, then sorry, why is this one jumping in all the time? Yeah, if we play this position, for example, with everything going crazy, and like maybe she was worried that she needs to take like 5 minutes a move, and then in some decisive moment, yeah, in some position like this, that she could go wrong
Mm-hmm.
and end up in some time trouble. So she's just playing it super safe. But this seems to be
Yeah.
absolutely equal now. Oh,
Yes. Um, I mean, the thing is with this f5 and g5, it also means that you always have a lot of checks in these endgames. Like the white knight on e1 is really passive. That's kind of a problem, but um,
what do you think about the
yeah.
idea from the black perspective instead of rook takes d8 here to try to play for a win, keeping the rook still on the board,
Yeah.
and at
But what's
least
your move after rook d1?
maybe queen a5,
Queen a5. Hmm.
maybe.
Yeah.
I like pawns.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
also a bit risky, yeah. Even I can Okay, rook d7 doesn't work yet.
But you can just go queen e2 if you want to. As knight c3 is met by queen d2.
Yeah, I would be a bit hesitant to go for these lines. At some point you can really have an open king if you
And
play
what
the
about
d-file.
this? There, it doesn't work out. Okay, we can go queen c6 or something. We don't have to leave the diagonal.
Yeah, or queen e2, and the knight gets trapped, I guess.
Wait, in g4 it doesn't work now?
Yes, it does. But we go back again, yeah. Okay, queen a8. That was probably playable. But yeah, already in these positions, if I got the d-file, it's all kind of okay. But there's a
we have double attack. Isn't it losing? What is the move?
It might be, yeah. I don't
because
see a move.
Even queen d3 with the idea to cover with a check doesn't help because knight c3 card does all the job.
No, this is very surprising, honestly. I mean, I could easily have seen a play rook d1 quite quickly. If this is a blunder, that's a trap that you can very easily fall for.
Yeah, it seems like just a double attack that we can't do anything about. So maybe you're not able to play rook d1.
Yes. No, in that case, queen d8 makes a lot of sense in that case.
Here there can be no other move, I think, right?
No. I mean, otherwise we take on f3 with check.
Yeah,
I think
we can play without an exchange.
Very clean line. I mean, but very difficult to spot, I think, from afar. I mean, it looks so natural, just rook d1 and you think no problem.
Oh wow, the game is running for a draw, is it? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I just moved some stuff around. But after rook d8, we have rook d1, exchange, queen d6. What is this? Are we gonna see a super short round today?
Yeah, but these night endings, it's not so much material, but they can be tricky as well. But yeah, a bit surprising that they went into this so quickly.
So I think that there is no real ambition from Zhu and Jun's side to be overextending her. So like, it's the last game in Shanghai now. Then they have 2 rest days. She feels comfortable in the match. Like, maybe it's also like such a even in her mind, like psychologically, just okay, a draw is like a win with black pieces, and that's it. Actually, something I noticed sometimes players doing, especially in a team events, I think this is maybe it's just an illusion, but people are set in their minds, okay, with black, draw is good result, and that's it. And then the opening gets played out, and regardless of the position, people feel, okay, with black, draw is a good result, and they're less inclined to actually be pushing for a win. But I kind of always felt that after the opening, it doesn't matter anymore what is the color. It just matters what is the position on the board.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just, I guess for many players, as you said, like before the game, you get yourself maybe into some kind of mindset that draws a good result with black, which is, of course, probably just not a very good psychological approach. But that might play a role here, that she was just quite happy to make a draw, go with +1 to the second leg of the match. She still has 3 black games, 3 white games, which were going very well for her so far. So she's just happy. But I mean, if she would have been able, or maybe is still able, maybe the position is still nicer for black, possibly here. But if she could go to +2, that would be really, really huge in a match that's very tough to come back from.
And I think it's also the only risk of playing like this for her is that in case she does end up losing some game in some next few games, then this kind of little bit calmer approach in the game where she actually had advantage could be hunting her
Yes,
just
haunting you,
mentally, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, yeah. I think, yeah, was in a previous match. I watched some interview with her where she was saying that in one game where she didn't capitalize on an advantage and didn't manage to win the game, that was a tough moment for her. But then she actually came back and played stronger afterwards. So maybe it could also fuel her when she, if I don't know what the evaluation of the position was, but if possibly like G4 or something was a big advantage for black and she missed it, that could maybe also give her extra motivation. Who knows? But let's see how the game will progress. I mean, I don't think it's over here. It's just a draw. I
And
don't think so at all.
do you expect queen exchange or no?
That's also a good question. Mm, Probably yes. I mean, the thing is, otherwise queen d2 is an issue. Maybe queen h5. But yeah, the most normal would be queen takes d6.
So let's look at some endgame ideas after queen takes d6.
Yeah,
And then maybe f3? Or no, that's... I was looking
yeah,
to cover the squares, but this feels like a wrong first idea.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, if the king gets to d5, I could become a bit worried with white. That black is just much more active. Like you usually say, like knight endgames are like pawn endgames, and it's a lot about king activity and how fast your pawns are running and so on. And
So do
black kind
we
of has a space advantage here, so
activate the king immediately?
yeah, maybe.
And then with some ideas to play g4 on our own
Mm-hmm.
and have a counter game, at least in a way.
Probably king f7.
G4.
Yeah, and king f6, king e6, I don't know. Let's say king e6.
Yeah, now it's the part where you gotta calculate actually. You cannot
Yeah, yeah.
just
No,
be
these
making random moves.
knight end games are very concrete. It's not like you can just play this by feeling mostly.
The feeling would be to keep it stable with h3 still, but
Mhm.
I would imagine that some taking on f5 is very, very principled here.
Yeah, I do like h3.
And she didn't exchange queens though.
Ah, she played queen h5.
She did, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also such a psychological factor that if you have an endgame which technically you have to defend,
Yeah.
then you want to do that with queens on the board because then you can be bailing out with all sorts of checks. And it does make
Mhm.
sense to keep queens on the board here since with the pawn structure that black have on the board, there is no safe spot for the king. Like you can't just create a place where the king is hiding behind the pawns.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess she was also just a bit worried that it's like just unpleasant this end game. I could imagine it to be. Probably it's drawable, but you still need to be careful. Like the queen side pawns were also weak. I can understand her, yeah. Yeah, so idea is after queen d2 just to give her petrol, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
it's unlikely that you're gonna start playing for a win here with white.
yeah, yeah. So
It's
black
just
would need to do something about that. I'm asking myself if king g7 if she will play queen e8 anyway, just to get into the position and attacking the b5 pawn also.
that makes a lot of sense just to get the queen there. It's so annoying piece.
Yeah.
And if you play something slow, I mean, knight f3 is coming maybe quickly with some knight d5 ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And we get our counterplay, a bit at least.
Yeah.
And did she played king
Mm.
g7. Okay, she's fighting. because queen d2 was a way to end the game with a draw immediately. So all the rook exchanges and queen exchange offering was still just playing an endgame, which she considers to be slightly favorable and not looking just to make a draw.
Yeah, another move I considered was queen c6 here. I thought to prevent queen e8, but then f3 I guess was the problem.
Yeah, we dropped the pawn on g5.
Yeah, so king g7. And now, yeah, queen e8 probably. Because queen d2 is a big threat. White needs to do something about it. Maybe knight f3 is also possible, but then you might get some problems on the diagonal. Queen c6, queen d5.
Immediately we can make this move, yeah. And you exploit the pin against the king.
Yeah, I don't know where exactly, because queen c6, there might be king g1. But yeah, even in these positions, you can still go queen g6 and still go for a knight endgame. So I guess that's not really her idea. Or h6, yeah.
As well.
Yeah,
yeah, and
queen
the
is really out of the
is, if we don't have a direct counter play, also the c pawn is just few moves away from queening. Oh, could I just go c? Ah, no. My idea was something like this. If you take on g5, maybe knight f6, but queen f7 is just.
Oh, yeah.
Just does it.
Yes, yes. No, I guess queen e8.
It just feels very natural to put it there.
Yeah.
Since it also attacks the b5 pawn, if it was not attacking the pawn, then still you could argue about some other moves, but that's just so universal. Activate that with an attack. So she also plays it.
Yeah, it's played, yeah. Yeah, now is a big moment. I mean, it could also be that she just played king g7 first and now is going for queen d2.
What about c4?
Yeah.
It's probably not great, yeah, since now the knight is perfectly placed.
Could consider playing queen d2, you have queen f5 maybe, yeah. Okay, still there's just also perpetual, yeah, after queen d2, queen e5. Okay, you can get this pawn to c3. But the pawn is hanging on f5, yeah.
It's so naked king, we just have nothing that we can do.
No.
That's the main problem. We can't go so crazy. We have to be like really patient and smart.
Yeah.
So I would expect a6 just to be the human move. If you play it for a win still. And then white needs to find some way. Is there a perpetual if we go something like 93? Probably there isn't, right? King is gonna manage to run away. So we shouldn't do anything so crazy.
Not, but it's not so clear. How do you get away? If I check. Check. You go to f6 probably.
Yeah, let's try.
Check. King e6. Check. King d5.
And now I want something on the diagonal.
No, but I have queen a8 maybe.
Yeah.
This might be a draw actually.
Yeah, actually that's true. We just check. We don't allow 96, of course.
Yeah, very weird perpetual, but I think queen a8 might be very important as well, actually. But yeah, you can't. I think you can't run away now.
Yeah, that's the drawback of the pawns being all on the 5th rank. They just start
yeah,
like a wall.
They're taking away the squares from the king as well. Okay. Okay, but I don't know. Knight d3.
No.
I'm not sure if it makes sense compared to knight f3 anyway.
It was just to illustrate to look at the idea if queen can move at all or no, like if it's completely a draw. But so the black queen cannot move, so white has time now to improve their position somehow.
a6 is on the board, I think.
What about a4 as a move?
Yeah, but c4 now? Then you just take again, yeah? But
I try to get rid
of the b pawn now. Yeah, that's my king is always so open if you just take on a6.
He cannot take because I start checking, and
Mm-hmm.
my pawn is equally fast.
Yeah. No, you always have this perpetual idea.
Yeah,
I
so
have the feeling it's probably a draw.
this position is not,
Position.
even though black is to move, the knight
No,
on
no.
e1, everything is so good.
Actually, it should be a draw, yeah? If you take it, you have this h6 square to hide. Okay, I had some crazy idea. You check and queen h5, but okay, in the end I can protect with queen h6 still. Yeah, but otherwise there are no checks here. I guess white can go for perpetual again, like queen
Yeah,
d8
okay.
and queen f8. But, okay, I suspect this will not happen. But yeah.
So it's just so hard to escape the draw. Like, it's following you everywhere. Every active idea, knight of 3 is played. Just a simple one. Also, now, maybe I can finally get my g4 on the board, or it still doesn't work. Oh, it does, a knight of 6. Okay. I really wanted it to work at some point, but not yet. Okay. So knight of 3. Oh no, it's
Was
not
knight
played.
f3 played? It's not played. a6 was played.
Oh, it appeared on my board, so I thought it's played, but it
No,
was.
I made it by accident actually.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's probably the best move. Or a4, maybe, but I don't know if a4 is really necessary. It kind of makes sense to activate the knight. I mean, if you get knight e5, and yeah, then it might be very difficult to escape from perpetual checks. If we have
does
even the knight in the game, the king is so open.
does h4 make any sense?
Immediately, yeah.
So I'm hoping g4 and then go knight d3 and get it on f4.
Advanced, yeah.
Oh, but it doesn't. It's not working. There's knight of 6. This is.
Also on the other line, yeah. We missed that.
Yeah. So knight of 6.
It's knight d3.
Okay, so then h4 has no point really.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, I guess knight f3. I mean, what would black do here? If I get knight e5. I mean, it's always possible to go like queen d5 and just go for the perpetual. It's not really what we would like to do. Because now white can't really move the knight.
Oh no, I still lose another square.
But queen e7 is just possible.
Yeah, it's very, very hard to justify those pawns being so advanced with queens on the board. I like the idea of not going for the knight endgame here, because then the pawns are actually useful for you, that they are advanced, and now they have some minuses to be so crazy active.
Yeah. No, it might be very precise play by Tan. I don't know. Is there any possibility that white is slowly starting to play for a win?
Well,
Okay, I don't know.
white's
Yeah.
only ideas can be if they checkmate somehow, but they are not gonna manage to do that, I think, just with the queen and the knight alone.
Yeah.
So
Wait, maybe g4 here is knight f6 again, yeah?
Is there any useful square for the queen, like something like queen here, attacking those two
Yeah,
pawns?
I just considered the same. I guess always queen d5 at least, right? Or can we just take it on a6 of queen d5?
Oh wow, take the pawn.
That's too much, right? So knight c3. I mean, at least it doesn't really look like white can play for... Or
No,
even queen d2. We always have queen d2 if we want.
but it might be the
Here, we
most
might
straightforward way.
Yeah.
If you take a pawn, then you force your opponent to repeat the position in some instances already.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still possible to just go for this, and then white is just checking, perpetual. Oh. So, but
Yeah,
if we don't want to allow that, how do we defend the f5 pawn? It's tough. Very, very tough.
yeah. No, queen d5 has to be, but I also don't really see anything after knight f3. Somehow queen c8, it feels a bit weird to go away from the king. And yeah. Okay, like queen f6 is also a move.
Okay, but
Probably.
now the... No, this...
Yeah, I
Now
don't
knight
really want to
d3.
do that, yeah. No, black
Okay.
also needs to be a bit careful not to overpush.
Okay, but we have some moves. Knight f3 and the knight f6 played.
Uh-huh. Knight f6.
It's just to protect the king, I guess, against all sorts of ideas of
Ah, her
perpetual
idea
check.
is queen d5 and g4, yeah.
Hmm. Okay, so maybe queen a8 now?
Yeah, that would
Let's
make
say if we do the
sense.
same queen c8, yeah, queen g4, that is strong.
Yes.
Unstoppable. We cannot protect the knight, so we cannot unpin, and g4 is just coming.
Yeah.
Oh, knight f6 is very strong. So maybe knight f3 was not the best, really, in this position, for that
Yeah.
reason.
No, that was very well spotted by Ju, I think.
And now after queen e5, this endgame... Ah, but anyways can go queen c6. It doesn't save us in any way.
True.
Still g4 is coming. So is
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah.
queen a8 the only move to cover the diagonal?
Yeah, it's also very, very logical. But okay, you could fall for a trap, but I guess she's too strong not to see that. No,
And
queen
this is like
a8
a
is very normal.
mini
Hmm?
win, mini win for black already with this.
Mm-hmm.
Since we don't have
Oh,
a perpetual check anymore, and
she
we
can
can
play
king.
h6, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, for example, she did play queen a8 almost
Mm-hmm.
immediately, and yeah, h6 or king g6. I was thinking which one
King
is
g6.
more
Yeah.
useful.
Question is
They
how black plays on from here.
see pawn running
Or
somewhere.
or queen d5. You might also offer the queen exchange again.
Oh yeah,
The knight endings might be a bit dangerous sometimes if we get the quick knight c3. Black is fast with their play on the queen side.
and now the king is also gonna be already a step closer to the center. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, not easy,
Yeah,
and it's
knight
risk
f3
free
might
for
have been a
black.
mistake, yeah?
Yeah, this is on the board. And she's speeding up. I think she
Oh,
feels
she
very
played
comfortable.
h6.
Yeah, in these end
No.
games, she just feels super comfortable and confident.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, she's very often grinding out these end games. Like I've seen that a lot of times. She has some innocuous small advantage in an end game, and she often converts it to a win. A bit like in the third game, like you thought it's probably going to be a draw, this rook and bishop with extra pawn, but she just won it. So maybe that's also a reason why she more often goes for these kind of positions, because she knows she's very good at it.
and she can play them quickly. I think this is also important. Just
Yeah,
it's
and absolutely no risk here for black. Now is kind of a dream scenario. I think white. I don't know. Maybe white should have gone for the queen exchange, because immediately, I mean, with queen takes d6, because this kind of looks
yeah. I
a
did
bit
like the
unpleasant here.
queen c8 before. Just
Or
force
queen
things.
c8, but okay, that's if you play queen h5 in the beginning, it's already hard to spot queen c8. Okay, of course, she just took a decision. She doesn't want to play the queen endgame, so she saw queen h5 is fine. But yeah, this could get unpleasant here.
Is there any point to give a check now immediately to force the king to g6?
Yeah, She might just wait, yeah? Maybe queen a8 again. But yeah, there's this queen d5 move.
Yeah, I was thinking just if there's any sense that at the end we have 95, so now we do some move that really helps us. And
maybe h3 makes sense. Just to improve the position a very tiny bit.
Okay, I gotta try h4 though. It's just I have to do
Yeah.
it.
No, it's irrelevant. Ah, now after g4, h5. Yeah.
Exactly,
Maybe.
that's what I have to try.
Uh-huh.
If I spot
Okay,
an
king
idea like
h5
this,
would not be good, yeah? You
yeah,
need
king
to play knight
h5.
h5 here, yeah?
That's a nice checkmate out of nowhere.
Oopsie.
So knight h5. But now,
Yeah, you get the h4 square. That's probably worth it to go for that.
so you have to go king g5?
Yeah,
No.
but queen h7 is coming. Yeah, but even here, queen f7, I don't really like how this is going for black. I mean, you lose the h pawn, but the h pawn is not that important. I think it should be much more important, all the activity that you're getting here.
So then this idea with h4 could be very, very useful because we
Mm-hmm.
can swap off the h pawns, and I think that's a big change for the knight endgame, as those pawns
Yeah.
are going to be hanging much more, and we are a step closer to creating also our own passed pawn.
Mm-hmm. So I guess queen d5 would be again a move. Because now after h5 I have king h5 and f7 is protected. But you can go into the knight endgame and play knight e5 or something immediately. And king f6 doesn't work because of knight d7, so black is kind of losing some time, but still it might be a bit unpleasant for white here.
Could it
But
really?
probably, yeah, g4.
Or
Yeah, still it's not that easy.
no, 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 not knight g4.
Ah, king g3, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of to be a bit more aggressive. I want my
Mm-hmm.
passed pawn really quickly.
Yeah.
And
If we go knights or knight b4 also.
on knight c3, I think knight d7.
Yeah. Okay, we are of course very limited material by now. But still, it could be a bit tricky. But you have this a4, and if
Do I need
c4. Hmm?
do I need a4? Can't now do something. The knight on a3 is gonna be rather bad,
Ah,
so
yeah.
there takes
Ah, you can
takes.
probably take. Ah, you can start your own counterplay like this. Yeah,
Yes, two.
probably in general the knight ending is of course drawish.
Now I have two connected passed pawns, so maybe I play for a win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I can also get two connected. But yeah, knight endings should be drawish, but could also become unpleasant for white, I guess.
And they do require some calculation and confidence,
Mm-hmm.
big confidence in your calculation. That's I think
Yeah.
the
Yeah, yeah,
annoying part.
it's a big decision before you go into the knight ending. You should really yeah, consider if it's really okay and calculate some lines.
Um, just wondering what else to really play from the white side here, as we do need to make some moves. This is the and playing
Mm-hmm.
something like h3 doesn't feel like it does too much.
Yeah.
Even if we speak
Question
about
is
the same
how
endgame.
black improves. Yeah, I think the main question is anyway if black probably can't do too much besides playing queen d5. Maybe c4 sometimes, but yeah, going into this endgame, now white's a bit slow probably.
Of course, you can put the knight on d2, although the king is gonna get too active now. I don't like that.
Mm.
So g4, but
yeah, king f6 is coming.
yeah, it's strong king, very strong king.
Yeah, here white looks a bit too passive, honestly. This knight b4, knight c3, and c4 ideas. Black is just the pawns are more advanced. That's why
Or
black is a bit
perhaps then I
quicker
need to
here.
activate my knight as fast as I can,
Yeah.
as it stops the king.
Yeah, we should try to understand how this usually works. Like in these knight endgames, it's always a question. Like you can't do much with the king. It's probably the question if you go knight b4, knight c3.
She
But white
played
also
h4
gets
immediately. Wow.
this
Sorry for
counterplay.
interrupting you, but yeah, I was just too excited to see h4 on the board.
Yeah, you
but
predicted the move.
I wanted
You
to give a
didn't,
check
yeah?
first, yeah.
This might be even smarter what she did.
But now I don't need to go after
Queen
queen b7.
b7.
I
You
don't
queen
need to go
d7.
check.
You have queen d7.
But can't I improve my king first? No.
But now I give check here.
Oh, and okay.
Yeah, that's true.
And you gotta go back to e1.
And that I don't want to do. Even though it might be possible. Yeah, what else?
Yeah, but even if you do that, then I have knight d7 against the checks on the 7th rank, but on the other hand, I
Yeah.
cannot create any threats in just 1-2 moves.
Yeah. I don't like this, to be honest. I mean, I can imagine
Sorry.
h4 with the idea to exchange the queens immediately, but no, I mean for white, I don't like it. But queen d7 is also a relevant move.
Yeah,
I think it
it's
was probably
actually,
better to play queen b7 with what you wanted.
we take away the most important square here for the knight, which seemed like we have to get our own counter game with knight e5. So this is very strong blockade for the white's pawn structure.
Okay, I have one random question. If just to try to understand why she played h4. If queen b7, is there still queen d7? Maybe there's the same option. I'm not sure. Maybe
Queen
this
d5,
works
yeah.
for black. It's just a bit surprising that she allows this g4.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm not sure. Maybe. Okay, but I can understand you get worried about this.
No, this is looking very scary, certainly.
Yeah. So she played h4.
But
So
after
g4.
g4, can we avoid queen exchange? Is this an option in any way? Or no, maybe knight g1 and he could want to put the knight
That's an
there.
idea as well. Yeah.
But still we get the queens off the board.
Yeah. Yeah, you're trying to get the knight to f4, but kind of it doesn't make too much sense.
Okay,
The
but
knight
at
is on
least it can
d5
defend the
already.
a2 pawn.
Yeah, but I think here black can come with the king.
And essentially black is playing an endgame pawn up, since we have never any breaks effectively working on the king side.
Yeah, that's a
And still,
big question with the king side structure. If this was really a good idea to allow this g4 in the knight endings, because you often wanted to play g4 yourself with white in the knight endgame. Here it might be that you can't really create a pass pawn so easily.
okay.
Yeah, probably
But
knight e1. But okay, apart from g4, it's probably not so much choice.
but this really anyways feels super scary.
Yeah. Yeah, knight d3, just c4.
Let's say we But we cannot even get king
No,
e2.
no. I just forgot you. The critical move was queen b7, right? But yeah, okay. All these knight games, they are kind of similar, but it kind of makes a difference. Like in this position, the black knight is immediately probably active, and maybe if you play this,
If you
maybe it
play
helps white
g4,
that the knight is not as active immediately. But I don't know how. Maybe knight e1 here, yeah. Like now black
okay.
needs kind of a few moves. But the king is coming.
Okay, maybe at least we get the king to e2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
really don't like it. Just I don't
No,
like
it
it.
looks very unpleasant. C4 or something, even.
We have the queen exchange on the board. This is happening.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
Yeah, like if you take king d2.
Yeah, the thing is, you can't go king e4, king f3, because the knight is protecting, but...
But we are in zugzwang.
No. This
Knight
might
d3 is
just be
gonna.
losing immediately, honestly.
Yeah, knight d3 is just gonna kill the game probably in
Mm-hmm.
one move here, forcing you to either lose all the pawns on the king side or go to a lost pawn endgame.
Mm-hmm.
This is such a clutch on the whole
Yeah.
pawn structure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who knows? H4 might have been a big mistake, actually. Because with the knight on d7, you can't also get counterplay so quickly. Like knight e1, knight d3, if you do that, the c pawn is always protected. Not like you don't want to play c4, you would also just play c4 probably against it. But probably the main thing is with this h4, g4 that white can't get the counterplay with g4 themselves. And now it just feels like she should have gone into the knight endgame immediately. Now it feels like a better version just for black.
Certainly, yeah, man. Black made
Yeah.
progress. Well, white, especially the knight has to go back to e1, then black made
Mhm.
progress. While white did absolutely nothing, just waited a few
Mhm.
moves. So it's and endgames is not really the place where you can be just giving up some two tempos and say that it's nothing.
Mhm. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the knight should go to d2. It's possible. Just to defend, kind of. But you don't really have too many
It
active
can be
ideas for white.
very awkward on d2, no? Like
Yeah, but I just
no,
thought it's
I
awkward
meant
on on every square. But
that it's gonna be hit
even
by
this idea.
tempos. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
then
that's the problem with this h4, g4. Even the pawn endings are usually probably just winning now. And like if you can't go into pawn endings generally, that's a big thing that black can just bully white with. If you always have to move the knight away, just I mean, let's imagine black plays knight e4 here, you would need to go to f1 or b1, and that's really not not something you want to
and
do.
that's as well as not having a knight at all, if you cannot move
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah.
and I think the big difference in these positions now compared to some other lines is that knight is forced to be stuck behind all this pawn chain. And when it was able to somewhere jump and from behind attack something, then white
Mm-hmm.
was doing more or less like it's worrying, but white has counter game of their own. But now when the knight is just struggling to find any squares, we're not really having this piece. That's the
Yeah. Yeah, this looks very boring for
It's kind of the
Tommy
same
here.
like when you have a bishop in some endgames where the bishop is stuck behind your pawn chain and you just can't get out like a bad bishop. It's I think just a
Mm-hmm.
scenario of bad knight.
Mm-hmm. Someone in the chat is suggesting f4 here. It might make sense. Or even f3. Probably you just need to Okay, but even if you go f3 and take on g4, it's not likely it really saves you.
Okay. No, okay. Yeah, f4.
Mm-hmm.
The king runs over. The idea has to be e4, I think.
Yes.
But now the king is running, no? So quick.
Yes, yes.
And the f pawn is not running anywhere. The knight has a perfect f6 square.
Yeah,
That's...
it's just so much about activity, these night
And this
end
guy
games.
is still light years away from the game.
Mm-hmm.
In an endgame, 2 tempos, 2 moves to get to the center. That's crazy much.
Yeah. Oh, it could easily just be winning. Yeah, c-pawn is coming just.
She played knight d2.
Uh-huh.
And f3 idea,
Yeah.
it
But
is...
even if I just play king e5, I don't really see the big issue that white takes on g4. Ah, you
yeah,
just keep it flexible, maybe.
maybe sometimes I want e4 and at least get a bunch of pawns off the board.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but knight f6 is just stops any idea that I could have. And I
Yeah.
don't bring the king over because even knight h5 could come sometimes. Or
Mm-hmm.
oh, and also yeah, I just...
Oh, it looks really bad, honestly. Maybe king e2?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
just...
know. I just expect us to more or less go down these lines. Like king f6 is so logical. I mean, it makes sense to involve the king in the game. I mean, you could try to prepare c4 immediately, but why not just to bring the king? So probably we're just going down these lines more or less. And white probably needs to play something active because this knight f6, knight e4 idea that you mentioned, it's kind of very annoying long term.
Yeah, she's probably thinking about some pawn breaks if she put the knight on d2, because otherwise knight has no valuable squares. From e1 at least there's some idea where to regroup it. But
Mm-hmm.
from d2 it's just stuck.
Yeah. No, it's probably f3. I mean, on the queen side, a4 you can play, but it doesn't really help you much, I guess.
And here, some way to stand, or... Okay,
Okay, I
what
was
about...
just about to suggest king f2, king e2, but maybe e4 makes sense.
If it doesn't lose by force, then it makes sense.
Yeah, like if I take, you take with the knight. Yeah.
Yeah, but now I could just play some
Yeah,
other...
king d4 again.
This is
It's
hanging.
just you're so much slower with white here.
And still the knight has no valuable square to go to. Okay, there's
Mm-hmm.
d6 now, technically, but that's just gonna be
Mm-hmm.
slow. C-pawn is
Yeah, the
promoting. It's
c-pawn is
just...
just too strong.
If we just think about that fact that we need to still take a pawn and then make a lot of moves to promote somewhere, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 moves, and that's it.
Yes, yes. It's like white already had a pawn on g4 and was ready to go. And also an active king, but she just doesn't.
Wow, this is
Yeah.
gonna be crazy if there's another game of this kind of character, another win like this by
Mm-hmm.
Zhou and Jun. I mean, it's still, I guess, a bit too early to call it a win, but it's very close. It's just very,
Yeah.
very close. And I think just Stan was very uncomfortable with this whole game in a way that it just was developing. Just she was trying to make it more fun, more interesting, but the character of the position was just so positional, and just she couldn't make
Mm-hmm.
it work.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I, I mean, the players will be struggling as well. I also see that she's kind of going down on time. She's probably thinking a lot for her last few moves. So she's probably not feeling so comfortable here. And I mean, for the players, it's just as difficult as for us to come up with something here. I don't really see any defensive ideas besides trying to get some kind of counterplay. Like, you can bring the king, but if you bring the king, that's just this knight f6, knight e5 idea. Like here. I mean, for example, this pawn landing, this should just be lost, yeah?
Ooh.
You just play with a pawn less. I
It's
mean,
such a luck.
white kind of has a fortress, but you will not play c3 here. Then it would be a fortress, but you will just at some point take it and get a
If
passed pawn and run to the king side and win, yeah.
if we disable en passant as a move, then white is doing fine.
Yes. Then white would be okay. It would be a draw, but white would be doing okay. Very important rule. Yeah. So Drew is thinking here. I don't know what.
I think she's probably considering if she needs to activate the knight now immediately, or if she just brings the king over.
Yeah.
Bringing king over is like the most natural way. Like it's hard to go wrong with it, but there might be something very, very direct with the knights already, and that you, I don't know, like 95 and just you completely lock down any white's hope for anything.
Yeah. What about this king f1, knight f3? Is that winning?
Oh, that's
Like, do you need to play knight b1 here?
that is so brutal. Knight b1, b4, yeah, and
Ah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's really, you can really bully white with knight exchanges if they always win.
okay,
That's
like
really a
after
problem.
capture, that should be totally winning. I guess it's safe to say.
Yeah, I guess there's no way to get a pass pawn.
And
And black
this,
will just come with a king.
so this, if this pawn endgame is winning or no, I guess that's the question, because really knight b1, b4, you are just gonna be lost, because anyways, you're gonna have to make a knight move at some point, and that will be it. So
Yeah,
here the question is this winning or not? It should be.
probably it is, but
It's such a nice route.
probably it's just winning. I mean, the only thing is you can try to go. You need to play f3 at some point. I mean, even this, you just play h5. You give the c pawn and just collect on the king side. I think
Yeah, just push
should
it
be
and
winning.
just... Oh wow. She went for king f6, which is just the most natural way. Like if you see that king
Yeah.
f6 is not spoiling anything, you just put the king in the center. Just
No, I
the way
think
you
it's probably
approach.
the best move, but it's just shows how problematic the position is for white. That even this knight e5 idea was very interesting.
I think she's gonna play now something like f3 rather quickly. She must
Yeah, I
realize
don't know.
that...
I mean, I guess she's starting to feel uncomfortable, so I could see her spending some time here, actually. It's only 6 moves until the time control. And you really need to find some defensive idea here, if you can, even.
If you can, that's a very good
Yeah.
point.
No, it's really
um,
shocking, yeah? This h4, g4 is really changed the evaluation of this knight endgame, probably.
and because so far we haven't found any potential defensive setup for white, right?
Okay, one idea I still had was e4, but you just take it and go king e5 again, right?
Exactly. And either you play f3 and we are in the same territory, or the
Yeah.
knight is still... We are winning so many tempos with attacking this knight. Like the knight is just somewhere jumping around, and the king is coming or pawn is coming with tempos, and we already have way bigger activity, and we are still keep winning time. So it's like such a bad combination.
Yeah. No, somehow you have to involve your king somehow in the defense. You can't really defend such an endgame without the king. Then the pawn will just always promote. But yeah, involving the king is also just too slow. Yeah, I don't really see anything for white here. Honestly. Like, this would be normal, but that's how we wanted to play, yeah?
Yeah, and now we just take care of that.
And now, I guess f3. Did we already
No, we
analyze
were
this?
looking at king d3 as a move.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but now knight... Oh no, wait.
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know, 44?
Ah,
Because we don't...
yeah.
We are pushed back
We
somehow.
need to go back with the king. It's probably not optimal. Probably it's still very good.
Okay, but what if I just take, actually?
Yes. And if I take with the king, you might be able to play knight e4 again.
Yeah, as I still have time to play h5.
Yeah, and if you need to go back with knight b1, it's just c4.
Or b4. Just trap the knight.
Yes, you like this b4. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Because it says puts...
h5 also.
It puts in a Tsutsang. That's why I like it, but...
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
but in this moment, like, if he plays c4, the knight has some perspectives, but for now, of course, knight a3 is not a move. So it's essentially, anyways, kind of in a
Yeah.
cage.
No, I mean, this is just over. I mean, even h5. You can go knight a3. It's kind of your only move, and it's you can just. I mean, if you want, you can just take the pawn. You will probably win the whole queen side.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4 moves before it gets to
Yeah.
h5.
Yeah. No. I mean, you would need to take with a knight, I guess.
Yeah, you
Then
take with a
king
knight.
d5. And now what?
Or
Knight
maybe we...
e4 is a big threat.
Do we want to provoke knight d2 by playing king e4 first? Then knight d2 and now king d5?
I don't see the necessity,
Just that on
honestly.
c4 we would have no knight d4
Yeah.
idea.
Okay, it's just we have a big choice. It's all just
And also, like, I
very
think with
good.
the knight on d2, the c4, c3 is maybe just bigger threat. I don't know, just the feeling. But
No, it's both just over, I think. I mean, even this, it's 94 is coming next move. I mean, as soon as you play f3, the g3 pawn is also just such a weakness, and you kind of need counterplay, and you just can't get any. Like,
wait,
just
can
long term
I?
has this.
No, it doesn't work. Okay,
Yeah,
it
like, just
was...
long terms has the pass pawn, and you don't have any counterplay yourself. But okay.
It's so bad. It's just
Yeah.
so very bad here.
At least also practically, it's also much easier to play for black. White maybe has some very precise way to somehow keep fighting and stay in the game, but I have the feeling it will be very hard to find as well. So we're in the position of the king f6 right now, yeah.
Yeah, do you...
What did we say after f4?
Just king
King
e6?
e6, yeah.
I'm just forcing e4 by king e6 move, simply. Not allowing
And the
to...
problem was...
We just take it, and we just come with the king.
Yes. And if I
There's...
bring the king, black is too fast now, yeah.
Now
Black
knight
gets to
f6.
play c4.
I think just knight f6 is the most clean, without any calculation now.
But I thought king d3 now? Like, now in the pawn endgame, I did your trick to get my pawn to
Okay,
f4.
okay. Yeah, that
But
is true. But
okay, you kind of have c4 even. Okay, that's not so clear.
yeah, that is some progress from white side. Yeah, c4.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait.
let's.
I
Can I
was just
skip
thinking
skip a
knight
move
h5.
somehow? I would really like to skip some moves here.
Yeah, it's kind of Zugzwang just, yeah. Maybe a5, but then a4. It's not so easy to skip a move. You can play
Yeah.
h5.
Okay, I play h5.
But I wait with a3. And now, if a5, I will play a4. And then, okay, this would kind of, at least, at least we don't see the win immediately here. This
Yeah, it makes black think.
would
That's
be nice to get. Okay, we didn't need to play knight f6 here. In this position, there was also c4.
okay. Yeah, she played f4.
Ah,
Ooh.
okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
We might be seeing something like this.
At least with this f4 move, you're kind of saying that, okay, now you can't just go into a pawn endgame in any situation. Yeah, we might get this. I thought maybe I can go knight b1. Try to set up some defense here.
Yeah, like knight f6, knight c3,
Nice.
king c5.
Okay, I probably have to go over here. Knight h5, I do have knight e2 now.
Knight d5. Still bullying the knight. I like the strategy.
Yeah.
So effective.
But we have this idea maybe. Knight e2, knight e4.
Oh, and now c3 and...
Okay, now king d3.
Oh, king d3 is... Yeah, we have a new
Yeah.
square. Okay.
I guess knight d5 is not really necessary. I thought king d4 maybe.
Okay, yeah. Then that's
But yeah,
very,
it's not
very
so
accurate.
clear here.
And then maybe
How we
just
are
move
really
in.
making progress. Yeah,
Trying to
now white is kind of
quiz...
stuck. Can black improve here? If we just wait. Or king. Yeah, we need to control b2, I guess.
So now regrouping the knight somehow would be, I think, the key. Some way
Yeah,
to...
but we need to be careful not to allow e4. Knight h5 is always possible, but white can go knight e2.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to achieve very much.
Yeah.
This seems like one of some of those classic kind of endgame exercises that you are just
Yeah.
how technically winning endgame and then you just have to solve it somehow.
Yeah, also with no counterplay, and now you just need to find the final plan to win the
Maybe
game.
some... Ah, no, but e4, like you said, yeah. I wanted
Yeah,
knight
you
to
do
b2
get
on
e4.
d6.
Yeah.
Oh, but the game scenario is completely different. But yeah, this
Ah.
feels like a way that it could have been holding. But
Mm-hmm.
this felt totally lost to me.
Yeah.
Like, this is
Yeah,
what's
I
happening.
agree. Yeah. This looked very bad.
It's natural
No,
to
I
want to
agree.
have
Yeah.
a passed pawn, but this passed pawn is very relevant because the king doesn't play.
Yeah, how to stop the pawn without the king, and I mean, even if the king gets to the queen side, there's always this knight f6, knight h5, or knight f6, knight e4.
Alright, so she's gonna try something like this, I assume. Ah no, but it's not. We're not in time even for it. So king doesn't get to queen side. It just cannot get there.
I don't know what's her plan here. Okay, I mean, she was also struggling to find any idea at all to defend. Maybe she just couldn't come up with something. too problematic for black. I don't know. I mean, knight f2 would win a tempo, at least. Even though,
now,
even here, you might
this
just
is king.
sacrifice
Okay,
it. You
I
might
see.
just sacrifice it, honestly.
Okay, but I don't want
I mean,
to really.
you don't need to. You can just play knight f6 as well. The knight f2
It's
is also so passive.
okay. Maybe now. No, but that makes we have to stop the c
I
pawn.
think
So
you
king
would need to
f1.
bring the king, yeah. King d4, king e2. Even king c3. But yeah, c4 would be the straightforward approach.
Does this put the knight on h1?
Oh, but g4 is hanging.
Oh, I keep forgetting about that pawn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably king c3, actually.
But what was problem with c4 and c3 and just promoting, kind of?
Yeah, I thought white can go passive, maybe. King d2.
And now just to use the time like 95. Now it's like now looking for lines to sacrifice, really just.
Yeah.
Or
Okay,
perhaps.
I guess you can go, yeah. Probably this is just completely crushing. King e3 and go here. You take all the pawns, the g pawn is promoting immediately, and the
And that one
counterplay on
is.
the queen side is too slow.
Yeah, g pawn is unstoppable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this might be a way the game could go. Okay, where are we in the... Knight f2 happened.
Knight f2, yeah, it's
Right?
played, and this is the position right now, and Ju and Jun is calculating how to finish it off.
Mm-hmm. So did we check king d4? We didn't check king d4, yeah?
No, king d4 was the main. No. No, we checked. Like, I put it and
Yeah,
I
I was
realized
just
that
wondering
g4
if you
was.
can just brute force, like, promote the pawn. But I guess maybe white can generate some counterplay now. c3, knight e3. Maybe sacrifice the knight and then push your own pawns and
Yeah,
maybe
two connected
try to win the
pawns.
game, yeah. Okay, probably
Yeah,
should
this
be a
is
draw. But
very, very unnecessary territory
yeah,
to go to.
it's also not really in Juice style. Just I would expect her just to okay. If it's just a concrete win, she will just go for it. But if you can just shut out all the counterplay with knight f6,
I guess
why
she's just
not?
thinking where the knight wants to be. If she needs to play h5, does the knight would have complete freedom, or she's playing knight f6. But it seems like a very nice route for the knight. Like,
Yeah. I mean, why not to put it there? It's better placed on
because
d7 and
because we probably are not gonna go for these ideas, since it's nice to
yeah.
have a knight in front of the f
Yes,
pawn.
yes, yes, I agree.
Yeah,
And also
so
you're getting ready with if you play knight f6, you're always getting ready to jump to e4, h5 if the white knight goes from f2.
she did play it, knight f6. Oh no, she
Yeah.
didn't play it. That's again.
Ah,
I am
okay.
looking. I have so many boards. I think in my vision there are one like with all the
Yeah.
overlays. I guess 8 boards around my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So I see some move somewhere. I immediately think it's the live move, but it's not.
Yeah, she
Uh,
doesn't need to rush. She still has 15 minutes, and it's kind of a position where you can just probably just calculate your way to just making sure, and maybe it makes sense to spend some time here and make sure you play a winning continuation. But knight f6 is so logical. And yeah, it will be a big moment in the match if she will win now.
yeah, +2. Of course. How do you have you ever played a tournament which changes location somewhere midway through?
Ever, yeah. I can't recall actually. It's a bit strange, but I think it's normal for the women's world championship matches. I think last time they also played in like
Yeah,
with
it
Lei
was.
Qingzhe and also with Tan Zhongyi. They also played in Chongqing and in Shanghai. They always had this traveling day, but it must be a bit weird, but they're probably used to it from their earlier experiences.
We have a question in chat. What happens if you get 6.5 points before game 12? No, the moment any player scores 6.5 points, the match finishes. They don't play anymore.
Yeah. Okay, King F1 happened. Yeah, I mean, for me, I would also get a bit tired from traveling. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
because
it's like a
it's
3-4 hour flight or something. It's
yeah, it's
also a
quite
bit
far.
exhausting.
Like distance is curious actually. What is the distance from Shanghai to Chongqing? But
Yeah, and I mean, you're traveling one day, then you still have a rest day, but okay, also some opening ceremony and so on, probably. So I guess like the normal course of the match, when you get the rest days, you get more rest than in this situation. But on the other hand, like having 2 rest days after the travel would also be too much. So I guess that's the best way.
yeah, so it's 1,700 kilometers between the
Mm-hmm.
cities. So that's some
Yeah,
serious
it's quite
distance.
far. Yeah,
It's like
but
across half the Europe.
okay, it will also be a fresh start somehow for if especially if Tan loses today, she will also play in her home city. Might give her some positive emotions and encouragement.
Yeah,
Okay, but the
just
game is not over, of course.
it's very very close to it though. Now the king d4 is on the board. Like when you have an endgame with this kind of king, it's just so
Yeah, you said close to a draw, but close to winning now, yeah. Close to over.
yeah. So because the line that we were looking here was on those direct lines, but king c3
Mm-hmm.
does seem to be. Oh no, here.
Wait, yeah. White is fast enough, yeah.
No, I wait.
Actually, I
Maybe
can go c4. Can I?
here immediately.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, so we don't have any forks. We cannot pick it up.
It would be very mean, but maybe it just works. Yeah, because I
No way
queen
to
with
get the.
check. Otherwise, you get knight d5, knight b4.
Okay, yeah. If a king was somewhere else, then this would be typical defensive resort with knight d3. But yeah, it's check. But she played h5. She just wants to do it really,
Clinical.
really brutally. Just
Mm-hmm.
no moves for white,
I
making
guess there's also no reason to rush. After king d2, what's the next white move now?
king d2 is play. No, it's not played. It's you. Yeah, okay. King
Yeah.
d2, and
Okay, the question is what would be the black waiting move? But what would be the next white move? If we
do we
just
need?
play c4 here, what does white do?
Yeah, c4 or knight d5. Trying to get the knight f5 in the ideal scenario.
Ah,
Just
even this.
if we are being like
That,
super
that's
mean.
also mean, yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, I guess knight d3 would be the only kind of active move.
Yeah, because if the knight is on f5, it attacks, protects everything at the same time. It's like
Mm-hmm.
only hope maybe some f5 now yourself and to count on knight d3 ideas, but
Yeah. Yeah, it's a small question how black reacts if we play f5 here. Let's say we play f5. Does black go back and take the pawn? Or how does I mean you can also just ignore it probably. I was just a bit curious how we react to that. If king
yeah,
e5, there's also knight d3 now.
I think we could have ignored it and played c4. Maybe even without knight f6 or just now c4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to the same strategy. We just draw the king to c2 and go for all of these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like you mean c4 and
Yeah,
I
king
mean white
d2.
has to I mean there are no other moves in the position. So And now probably just this.
Yeah, doesn't matter where that pawn is. F4, F5, it's all the same.
Yeah, this knight is also just a monster on f6. It also protects h5, it's stopping the pawn. It's just stopping our counterplay. And yeah, okay, let's just try. It's just way too slow.
Not clear what to
You
try.
just go this
Because
and there's no counterplay. Yeah. No,
oh,
this is really...
it's like 3 moves minimum to get the a6 pawn. Not even talking about starting to advance somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So h5 is the position.
Yeah, this is also move 40. And Tanjongi is thinking. I expect that the game could be over very, very quickly as well. Don't know how much time she's gonna spend on this, because she could realize that nothing works and just be done with it. But
Yeah, it's kind of a position where you don't have too much choice what to move.
and if the plan from you and Jun is really to push c4, c3 and go here, then she could just play it quickly. Of course, she would double check everything, calculate stuff, make sure that it's working perfectly out. But
Yeah. No, I mean, what should white move here? It's only possible moves that I see, even like f5 or king d2. I don't really. I mean, if I move the knight, knight e4 will come. I just take your pawn. What can
yeah,
white do? I mean, a3 or something is possible, but then like immediately takes the pawns. So there's not too much to think about probably here
it's
from
also
white's point of
sometimes
view.
in such a state in a match, in such a game. Now you're losing with white pieces. Maybe you're just taking your time to really gather
Yes.
yourself, just
Yeah,
to be
for
able to
sure.
function. As the players also, yeah, there was one day we also spoke about this, that after the game, players are obliged to attend press conference. So you even have to be mentally ready for all the questions regarding it. Like,
Yeah, I can imagine. Like, usually, at least when I get interviewed, I don't play these World Championship matches. Usually, you only get interviewed if you drew or lost or something. Usually, yeah, but in these World Championships, it's just merciless. You have to go to the press conference no matter what. I think Carlsen skipped it once after he lost against Kayakin, and then you have to pay some kind of fine,
yeah,
as
they
far
have
as
a
I
fine.
know. And of course, and they don't want to do that, or you get like some percentage of your prize money taken from you. So yeah, it's of course very tough.
Okay, since the move 40 has been reached, and I expect that now the result should be clear in general, unless there is some very big surprise and very big blunder. We could go for some small break and return back to uh, most likely just conclude the round already in just a little bit. How does that sound?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so we will be back in some few minutes. And we are back. So the move in the game was played something that you said is not really a move, which was a4.
Yeah, I didn't mention it. I only mentioned a3. a4 kind of makes more sense. But yeah. Okay, I guess the idea is after king c3 to play knight d. Okay, takes. And what's the idea? Knight d3 or what?
It
No,
has to be knight.
king e3 is the idea probably.
Then after capture,
At least you get knight e4.
Okay, and if we go for the take, then it's a queen endgame at least.
Yeah.
Okay, but we do not need to take. We can give a check and promote with those two.
Yeah, the question is I get this f pawn now. But I don't know where we go. King e2.
C4.
f5.
Seems to be very, very fast. The
Ah, we
c-pawn.
just take it, yeah. Yeah, f6 and just takes.
I think also c2 just wins instead of takes.
Yes, it's not necessary.
Like everything wins because this is
Yeah.
also like you queen, but we have at least queen e3, queen e4.
No stalemate tricks. Like here, you have the square on d2, unfortunately. If the queen was on e3, there would be some tricks, maybe. Even there, probably not. But
yeah, that's not very hopeful position.
So king c3 is really the critical question. If she does have any idea here.
I mean, you have to take. I mean, there can be no other one. And maybe
and
93 now
yes.
is an idea, just to force some things. But I think 94 is just king e3. We can take on g3.
Maybe c4 actually.
Oh, even that. Also,
maybe
this
that's
probably is winning.
even more cruel. Yeah, this would be good enough for sure, but here, I don't know. White might get some counterplay. You also get g3. Yeah, I know. What can white do?
Just a complete wall here. Yeah, and here we are even in time to play knight g6 if we want to.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't need to, but
I want to show something like f7, g1, f8. This is just checkmate immediately.
Oh, that is beautiful idea. Just knight covering here.
Yeah. Everything is working out for black somehow in this position.
So it's basically about finding the most beautiful way to win rather than finding the way that wins.
Maybe by now.
But yeah, the idea was that you mentioned c4. It's just not even giving a pawn or anything.
Yeah. And if you take an e4, you're too slow. Yeah.
Now we are one square faster. Queen f3. Just pick it up.
Yes.
And she should make a move relatively quickly, right? Because there are not many lines to calculate.
Okay, she's probably also just taking a break, just collecting herself what move 40 has been reached.
Yeah, because you can do this, and also just play c4. Still the same idea. And still go for also this and now king e3. The a4 pawn doesn't change anything in this sense.
Yeah.
And again, just pick up those and promote the g pawn.
Okay, I guess white can at least, like here, you can maybe try a5. Like, pretend that your pawn is a bit advanced. Maybe if you take on a6, you might be closer to queening. But yeah, like with the idea c3, knight d3 maybe.
Yeah, I mean it's also so unlikely to have any sort of an point.
No. Yeah, it should be just close to over. The question is, yeah, also when do you resign and so on. Of course, it's tough, especially in a game like today where you're really getting into a bad spot in the match. You might play on for a long time. I mean, this position, it's not really resign territory yet, but could
If
become.
we get here and knight d3, for example, yeah, this could be just resign already.
Yeah.
So
No,
and
here
the
you
same
could
also
resign.
if she's just checking, double checking, triple checking, like if she's not missing something, some knight jumps are. I guess nothing is as painful as to miss a knight jump in some endgame there, some unexpected one.
Wait, so somehow okay, I'm just confusing stuff in my mind. We went here.
Yeah.
Knight d3, knight d4, we said. Okay, one last thing would be here f5. Maybe.
Okay, the idea is that
Just to like c3, knight d3. Just try, yeah, but even c2. You can go to h7 with a knight. Or somewhere around there. And white's just
far away.
so slow, yeah.
Does this win? Just thinking. Let's see, 1b4. f6 b3.
Yeah. Also wins. Like, it would be interesting to take king g7. If you could play f7 here, that would be an interesting question, but you can only play f6 in this position.
On f7 it should be a draw, right?
Yeah, you have the stalemate ideas.
Just like if it's this. Do these
Okay, I
pawn matter
guess one thing
somehow?
is you can
I'll go for
play
a queen
this
endgame
and
somewhere. Yeah.
I guess
This
here it might be winning. Like usually this G and H pawn against queen endgames, they're supposed to be drawn. But I think it's mainly if the king is like in front of the pawns and the other king also. Here it's probably winning, but yeah, it should just be winning.
Yeah, with the g pawn, the king would have to be some perfect square somewhere there, and but here g and h pawns, so it's like.
Yeah. No, this should be winning. Not that it's really relevant for the game. Yeah. I don't know what she's thinking about here.
But she was taking a lot of time also in winning position. Yesterday she was also taking a lot of time, just making
I mean,
sure
why
that
not?
everything.
I mean, why not? She's getting extra half an hour.
Yeah, and you're seeing zeros as a time. That's because it doesn't automatically register. The moment they run out of time, if they had done move 40, they get extra time. And the moment when June will do her move, we're gonna see time added to her and know what is her actual, how much time she actually has at the moment.
So c4 here doesn't that work? Like to take on b3, but yeah, well, I can just also get the knight, just protecting, or a7 first. This is just like just to illustrate how you can lose with black still.
So, can you show it? Oh, how did we manage to lose?
Sorry. Yeah, that was stupid. I meant c4. This, just to illustrate a way to lose for black. If knight d5, a7, knight d3, and white has 2 pass pawns. This is what white is hoping for.
Yeah, unnecessary pawn sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Okay, but c, yeah,
wait, this is the position. Okay.
c4 also makes sense actually. Like just to go for your idea from before. This might be, if you want to eliminate all counterplay, this might be an idea. Just to go for this and then c3 again. And collect on the king side and try to win with 2 pawns against nothing in the end.
But aren't they like just from the human perspective preferring to have 8 pawns on the board? That it's like an extra insurance that you don't blunder some fork or some weird draw idea just when you have only 2 pawns
Maybe,
left.
from a like not logical, but yeah, from a logical perspective, yes. But here you, okay, at least in some world, white could maybe get an A pass pawn with some counterplay. But of course, white is always too slow with any counterplay in these positions. If there were pawns here, it would take 1,000 moves to take a pawn here. But I guess this is also just winning, just taking the pawns on the king side.
Yeah, but I
Nothing
mean,
to
when you
do.
have a choice between 3, 4 completely winning lines, I don't think you go for this one. It's like the
No,
least
no.
likely one.
She
She
did
played
also
King
play
C3,
king
yeah.
c3. It makes sense. She just wanted to
So
make sure.
AB should come.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on. That's on. And I expect that she's gonna resign in like 3 moves, maybe 4,
Yeah,
just depending what she does with
probably.
F pawn.
Yeah. So how do you think it's gonna continue from now? Like
I
next
think.
game,
Oh,
Ju will
yeah.
have white. How do you think she's going to play Sicilian or d4 again? Or-
I think she's gonna play incredibly safe. Yeah, I think she's still gonna try
Yeah,
because I mean she's too experienced to play just for a draw. It's
yeah. It
that
doesn't make
is.
any sense yet, I think.
Mhm. So she's gonna try, I think, to get one of those positions where it's technical zeros, but only white can play for a win. Like today we had this endgame kind of scenario, potentially
Mm-hmm.
just at complete control, but no way to lose really.
Yeah.
And and then it's all
Yeah.
gonna be about Tan being able to create something in the next game with white pieces, because I think if she misses the chance to create something with white pieces immediately, then it's gonna be pretty much over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think probably with white. I mean, she will try to just play something safe. I don't know if she will. She might switch to d4. It's possible. Because I think Tan mainly plays knight f6, e6, and you have many solid options there. But to play for a draw in the next game, it doesn't really make too much sense because sometimes you can start to play a bit strangely and not really to your optimal level if you start playing for a draw. But it could make sense. Like if we imagine that she's still leading by 2 points after round 8, then it might make sense to like start playing the Alapin or something against the Syrian. But for now, she will just probably try to play normal. If she gets if it goes to a draw or she sees a possibility where it's just going to a draw, she's just probably not going to say no. But yeah, if she draws the next game and Tan will win the next with white, then she's very much still in the match. If she doesn't, then it probably
Yeah,
looks
and
very difficult.
yeah, so I think yeah, exactly. Next 2 games, I think are gonna be very very decisive. Maybe the last chance really by being 2 points
Mm-hmm.
down, and it's new city, new kind of conditions, new playing hall, everything. Like 2 day break also can affect players. I think a bit kind of you get out
Mm-hmm.
of the rhythm. Even if you're playing very well, you feel confident, but in 2 days. Uh, a lot can happen. You can have after travel some bad sleep or something like this. It
Mm-hmm.
changes the match dynamic, I think, a lot. Like if they would be
Yeah.
continuing still 6 games in the same location, then by how it's going right now, it would feel like Ju and Jun is like in absolute control. But there is
Yeah,
still a chance that those factors affect it.
for sure, yeah. And I think like if she manages to find her form, she has a style where she can put a lot of pressure with this fast play and so on. If she gets a good position and is putting pressure on the clock, it could easily make Ju Ju crumble, of course.
Yeah, I
That's
think
also why she's just such a strong player. Yeah.
opening choice is very very important factor in this case. Like
Mm-hmm.
today, just it didn't work out at all for Tan.
I think actually the opening worked out, but yeah, then I think the early moves in the middle game were probably not too precise. I don't know where. Like I think this position after the opening, it's should be comfortable for white, but
I
then
meant
she
to.
allowed this bishop h3, and yeah, after that, I kind of feel like Black doesn't have any problems anymore. I don't know if like this was exactly the moments that we missed because of the
Technical
technical
difficulties.
problems. Yeah, but I think this was a very important moment that she got this bishop h3, and from here on she was basically safe in the game, and then Tan didn't play too accurately, and she even got winning chances.
Yeah, I meant it in a way that not because it was bad, but because it just was the kind of position where Juventus feels comfortable to control things.
Mm, yes, for
And
sure. Yeah.
like, there was this very interesting moment in the game that I played yesterday when this unusual line in the Sicilian, in the Khan variation
Mm-hmm.
with a 95 and so on. And she did get Juventus out of the book. And then what happened is, again, like the opening preparation kind of worked.
Yeah.
But then, in the first moments when she had to start to play on her own, she made very, very big inaccuracies, mistakes, like not really understanding in depth the structure that she has chosen to
Mm,
play.
yeah.
And so that is, of course, sometimes the risk when you're choosing the openings that you are not playing all the time or not so familiar with, that if they are getting adjusted a little bit, then you end up in the situation that you cannot adapt really. You're just what you have prepared, that's that, but when you need to adapt, then you're just a little bit guessing which direction to play it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a bit double-edged. Like it's a very important question how you approach openings. If you approach them like playing 5, 6 different openings, always trying to surprise your opponents, or you like learn 1 or 2 or 3 systems really well. Then of course, if you surprise your opponents, you might often get time advantage in the beginning and yeah, some psychological edge, but then sometimes opponent is surprised by your concrete moves, but um, you kind of don't know the position as well, and maybe this is some dynamic like this that we are seeing. But on the other hand, I think Ju is also not playing these e4 Sicilians too much. She's also a d4 player, so it might also be reading too much into it.
Yeah, that's the case. Like, I think exactly yesterday, there was kind of standard, a little bit like the structure was standardized in the Khan, but Tan surprised her, and then she reacted on such a move that I think is generally these structures not too common. Like she played the
Yeah,
c5 move,
the c5 I didn't see it too often, so
and
yeah.
usually it's not common because black can react very quickly by breaking this block, six especially, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then there was the situation that I guess both players were not really considering such moves like as their main ideas, since it's just not their main opening for both of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, for me it would have been the same. Like for you, it's probably obvious that b6 is always the idea because you play these Sicilian lines with black. yourself some lines like this, as far as I know. But I mainly play like e4, e5, like Caracan, French, and case and
Yeah.
Syrian sometimes, but it's more familiar to you, and then it's obvious to you. But if you're not as experienced in this, it can easily make mistakes like she did yesterday.
Oh, Tan is really taking her time at the moment.
Yeah, probably.
I
Yeah,
thought
desperately
if you,
trying to search for something, trying to handle her emotions probably also.
thought if she
I mean,
played
it's not
a4.
over, but the match is not over, but also like to lose, especially these last two games before the two rest days, it will also be emotionally not so easy to go into these two rest days with two losses and a difficult situation.
And it must be hard to play also like mentally against some like against a solid player to be down in the match so heavy. Because
Mm,
when Zhu
yeah.
and Jun is actually needing to still fight herself somewhat, then you have this chance to for some counter game, some overtaking that the game is not gonna be like going the dry territory every single time. But on
Mm-hmm.
+2, uh, whenever it will be a possibility to get it to like really a dry position, she is just gonna go there, and that is
Yeah.
uncomfortable, and it could lead also to Tan taking two big risks and
Yeah.
still losing some one more game and actually match ending up um, without full 12 games as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not like you can you can just crush her. Like we also saw that the second game where she won in some long end game grind. So when she gets into worse positions, she maybe knows to take them into some end games where you have to show some very precise technique and so on. So yeah, it will probably. It's not so unlikely that Tan will try to really sharpen up the games quite a bit, but of course it's very much easier said than done against against solid players. Like if d4 comes, you play knight f6, e6, d5, and if e4 comes, you will play the Berlin. And if c4 comes, you will also take it into some solid lines. So it's not so easy to get a really very tactical fight.
Yeah, we could even start seeing some c4, c6 stuff and something like this instead.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Probably not necessary, but just for the idea.
Probably. I think she wanted like c4, knight f6, knight c3, e5 today. Like in the first game, I think this e6, bishop b4 line in the opening. That was probably just a surprise for one game. Maybe they didn't expect c4 too much for the match, so maybe they polished up like these lines again.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is mainly considered very, very solid for black. Also, the line that she played in the first game is considered very solid for black, but maybe they realized, okay, they need to do some more work. But I would have expected her to go into these lines again today. And yeah, also here there's a lot of theory, and it's really not easy for white to
But if she
generate
would like to
ideas here.
play e5, what would be her reasoning not to play e5 and move on?
I think I think g3 is an extra move here. Like if you go d5 here with this bishop c5, it's not really the same. After knight c3, then you need to go back with a knight, and then you don't really get into these super solid lines that she played in the first game. And here it's kind of considered that white has a lot of tries, I think. So I think after g3, like c6 is one of the main roadblocks for white, but there the game sometimes becomes quite sharp after knight f3 or d4 here. There are sharper lines, so many players play knight f6 first because after d4 you can go e6. But now, yeah, you allow this knight f3, e6, b3 that happened in the game, or knight c3, but then you can transpose with e5, and if now g3, you can go bishop b4. But yeah, we should probably get back to the game position and not like some opening considerations.
No, it's interesting. It's very, I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
interesting
but
for everybody, the
we should
mental
just
factor.
catch the end of the game, probably.
So we have knight e4,
Yeah.
just very expected move after knight d3.
Mhm.
And then it is a lottery after king e3, which line she's gonna choose, c4 or knight g3.
Yeah.
They both are so convincingly winning that it could be either one of those.
Yeah, but these might actually be the final moves of the game, actually. I would expect her just to play king e3, c4. It will just not allow any counterplay. I mean, there are no other moves for white as well.
Yeah,
Right now.
well, still f5 she could play, but it doesn't change anything.
Yeah. Yeah, then you will take both pawns. Even with check.
All 3 pawns we take.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm losing the c5 pawn. Even now I can play c4, so.
So bad.
Sorry. Yeah. No, okay, sorry. My throat is having some problem. Okay, king e3 is the only move, but c4 is just game over.
I would expect them to start playing faster,
take...
but they are not.
Sorry?
I would expect them to start playing a bit faster, these simple end moves, but the time spent.
I don't have anything against it. Like, I think it's a good approach. Like, if you have 25 minutes on the clock, okay, if it's completely obvious, you can blitz it out, but why not to use your 25 minutes if you kind of need to take your last decision and it's kind of in such an important moment, just to make sure that nothing is, that you don't allow any tricks.
Also applying mental pressure on the opponent. The opponent has to be spending more time in really, really uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, true. Yeah, a bit cruel, but maybe true. Yeah.
Okay, but now it's actually Tan who is thinking after 94, trying to find a trick, I guess.
Yeah, probably she will not resign in this position. Probably she will still try king e3, but after c4, she might actually resign. Wait, one last idea. If king e3, knight f2.
Okay, knight g3, I assume.
Yeah, and then knight e4. Can I do that? Maybe they do have to calculate some lines still.
Okay, but that is anyways very easy after takes and g3. But yeah.
Ah, yes. Yeah, g pawn is too fast, and if you go back now, king d4. Yeah, that's the end of the game then. But at least there was one idea you still needed to calculate somehow.
Yeah, that's true. At least there is that.
Because if you went with the c pawn, I will promote. But like this,
The pawn endgame was probably lost anyways. The queen endgame.
Yeah.
If you just reach this position.
Yeah, but you don't want to go for this. If you don't need to, yeah. I mean, there you can still run into some perpetual or something.
Yeah, definitely. But that is not gonna happen. No way.
Yeah.
G3 you can calculate in a blitz game as well.
Yes.
And she went for knight g3. I had a feeling that this is the easier way.
Ah, okay. I expected c4, honestly.
So some moves are coming in. Knight f5. King e4, I assume. Knight h4 is gonna happen. Or maybe king f2 though. To stop the pawns. Maybe she's gonna calculate still.
So here, king f2, you say?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't do anything, but you can even just go here.
Yeah. Okay, probably she will take. Why not?
That's a good point. Why not?
I mean, you cannot move the knight anyway. I will take your pawn. Otherwise, I will return to f5.
Yeah, and then we pick up other pawns, and even if we remove these and these, then also it's winning just for black.
Okay, one at least an idea would be like to give check and collect on h5, but kings like you just promote. White is way too slow.
Too many pawns. Black just says
Yeah.
way too many pawns.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you had like one tempo more, you could maybe get your knight back, but here it just doesn't work, I think.
but it is very, very crazy how in chess sometimes it is like one such inclusion of h4, g4, and basically that was the
Yeah.
game deciding moment, the pawn
Mm-hmm.
structure.
Yes, yes.
You locked down it in a way that any pawn endgame is terrible for you, and you had
Yeah.
really no chance.
Yeah, that was the other critical moment. This h4 was somehow tempting, but it turned out to be a really, really big mistake to allow this g4 structure in this position. Yeah, where was it? Here.
Yeah, this h4 move.
She should probably have gone queen b7 and then go for this endgame, and here you can try to play h3 g4
Or
get your
just
king
keep it.
into the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get the king in the game, and it's completely different dynamic because yeah, just the pawn endgames are fine for white. Probably always. Like if you just remove the knights.
Mm-hmm.
So then
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
so now what black cannot bully white because what happened in the game is any moment, every line we calculated, black offers knight exchange, white has to retreat. Black offers knight exchange, white has to retreat. And here, yeah, it's just we lose this option.
Yeah.
And we are hopeful. It's tough endgame, king coming to d5 and all, but
Yeah.
it's should be fine to actually uh, manage to hold it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe it was also a better decision to exchange the queens immediately
Yeah, and I
instead
do
of
feel
queen
like
queen
here
h5 earlier.
this was important also resource, just to attack two weaknesses at the same time.
Yeah.
And black doesn't have really time to be doing much things because the king cannot go forward as there are checks from the 8th rank. So there's no easy way to defend f5 pawn. And if you do leave with a queen somewhere, like f6 or g6, then the threats disappear. And white can actually be feeling very fine because also c5 pawn is not that well defended.
Yeah.
So that's very powerful queen from c8. Could create a lot of a practical counter game and force black maybe to already make a draw somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was somehow hoping that black needs to go into some perpetual here, but yeah, Chu found this very strong move, knight f6, to kind of protect her king, and then again threaten some queen exchanges and
Yeah, and
put
what
some
happened
pressure again.
was with the h4 move is what she wanted to get, I guess, is this position. And now after h4, g4, this is actually winning for white after h5. And that's
Yeah.
we cannot take with a king, and there's a mate, and if like this, then we are just unable to defend from all the threats. So this is why h4 happened with the queens on the board, but probably queen d7 got kind of overlooked. And now in this moment after h like it was in a game. After h4, g4, there was no need to move a king because we had this very, very strong king d7, queen d7.
Yeah. Yeah,
Using
probably
the
she missed that for sure. Yeah. Also, it's a bit unfortunate that it's so bad immediately. This knight endgame. Usually it was kind of fine, but in this version it was just immediately so bad.
Yeah, so it's like the worst version of the endgames, knight endgame that we saw. When looking at different lines, and it just by force is happening immediately here. Because yeah, taking the knight is with a check, so we have no way to actually get out of.
Yeah. Should we go back to the live position? Or...
Yeah, we can return to the position on the board.
I mean, probably not much to talk about, but we should probably see the when the game will finish.
So where was it? Oh, we had
knight c5 and knight f5.
Knight f5, and she is calculating. Okay, in this position.
Yeah. One line that we showed earlier was if king e4 and f5, we get some kind of counterplay, but in the end, black can even promote and immediately had this beautiful checkmate with queen d4. So that might actually, okay, this will not be played out, but it could happen that she plays queen e4 and Ju will go for this. Just promote the pawn immediately.
Yeah, but also, yeah, just so many options. Always so many, so many options here. And
even g3 after king e4. But then king e3. Okay, even here it's probably over. But here white gets back into the game. I think white will also have the f pawn now. So g3 would be when even here we're losing.
It's a long way with a king to the queen side.
If we're even losing in the best case scenario, then it's kind of a bad sign.
Yeah, the other day with Jesse, when we were analyzing the rook endgame, we were trying to it was a draw on rook endgame, and we were trying to desperately find a way how to blunder that would change the evaluation with the logical moves to blunder. And we did find one line where it's possible, but I think here we haven't succeeded just yet.
Yeah. Okay, we can try. Is there any logical continuation where we don't win with black?
Well, now it's a check, so we gotta make moves.
Like if knight takes f5, is this winning? Is even this winning? This might also be winning, actually.
Yeah, this or also.
But here it's getting close.
Isn't also g3 winning?
But then I have knight e4.
Here, and h4.
Yeah. Yes, it's a bad sign. This. Yeah, you cannot really. H pawn is just like if you go knight e4, H pawn is coming. You need to stop it, and then the B pawn is coming. Yeah. No, it's probably just time to resign soon. She played king e5.
So she wants to take the pawn with the fork.
Okay, it's kind of smart, maybe. Or the best she could do here.
Knight f3 perhaps is one. No, okay, there are a lot of ways, of course, a lot of ways how to win it. King b4 is an easy way as well.
King b4 should be quite clean. Yeah.
Yeah, but also just knight f3 probably totally fine.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
problem is H pawn. The H pawn is also coming. You kind of need to
no,
stop the H pawn.
no idea where the king goes, but yeah, we can run with the H pawn if we want to.
Yeah, now G3, G2.
Or that, yeah, okay, we can do a lot
Yeah,
of
I think
different things.
G3 should be stronger. But okay, but F6 is coming at least. Is it so? Over. With knight G4, we have knight E4.
Does this actually blunder the win? No, it
I
doesn't.
mean, for sure, this is winning. But I think in general, you don't want to allow queen endgames. It's just queen endgames are always complicated. You
And we
can always
definitely don't
go
want to
wrong
allow it
this
as
time.
commentators.
Sorry?
And we as commentators for sure don't want to allow queen endgame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I recently played one for 165 moves, so maybe we don't want to sit here for 7 hours. Yeah, they're playing with faster time control. It's of course a bit easier for the commentators. No risk to commentate for 8 hours.
Oh, because that was still with the extra time after move 60 and more time initially. Yeah.
No, I played a European Championship recently. It was 7 hours.
Mhm.
No, I think like I don't know what was the time control between Ding and Gukesh, but at least in the past, this epic Nepo against Carlsen game 6 that went on for a very long time, 7-8 hours or something, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so king b4, very logical move here. Attack the knight, attack the pawn. And knight e4, probably just stop the pawn.
Yeah.
Or take it. f5. I mean, I can't imagine any other idea.
Yeah,
And
but we have the same line that we just talked about with tempo up, right? Or is it the
yeah,
same position?
so we can just ignore it. I don't know, b4 or king c2. Or does this blunder actually a draw?
I think we should take this pawn on f5 if we have the option, even though this,
I think I found a way not to win it.
yeah, nice.
Because here we are knight g5 and we are just in
Yeah.
time.
Are we losing? No, we're not losing yet. Okay, g3, g2 still holds a draw. Yeah, but I think we just take this pawn always. I think we just
Yeah.
analyzed the same position, and you said g3 was winning for black here.
With g3 and it was winning,
Wait,
yeah, so now we don't need to do it. We just go
I'm a bit
around.
confused, yeah.
And
Yeah, we're just a tempo up, right?
it's kind of happening on the board. King b4, king b3 was played, knight e4 was played. So
yeah, I mean, what else for white?
going for the h pawn seems,
Yeah, it's too slow. You have
especially
to
that we
play
have
f5.
these moves anyways available.
You have to play f5 here.
To play f5 and hope that black doesn't take. They make a normal move, and
I
then
have
still.
okay. I have one funny idea. Knight g6. If you move the king and then protect from h8 and say you can't get to my knight so easily. Okay, but I don't know. We could also go to f8. That would be a bit more normal. Probably we
Yeah,
don't need to take on f5 actually.
yeah, we just don't need to allow f7, king f6. Then we are one
Yes.
tempo short. That's it.
Actually, yeah, maybe knight h8 is probably smart because The further the pawn gets, the more clear it gets. Probably white is also too fast in this position. But this here again, white is fighting. Maybe.
Are you really
Probably
fighting?
still lost. Sorry?
I'm not sure if you're really fighting here.
No, queen b7. Yeah, we cannot even just sacrifice for the pawn.
But there was one way not to win it, so that's the hope is alive.
Yeah.
There is a chance.
So Tan is thinking again. Yeah, what should she do?
We have 3 passed pawns with black. Like, it's just, if we don't push our own pawn and we don't take the knight, then what is it that we are doing?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, like this. I mean, G3 is just coming. We can't catch those
I mean,
pawns
if you want
anymore.
to do this, you need to go from knight g3. Then you even have a choice to play knight f3, h4 if you want, or you can play b4. It's also just too fast.
Maybe she's calculating this and then this.
Yeah. Okay, it's also losing, probably.
What just happened? Ah, because we
this...
can... No, we take on G3.
Yeah. I mean, we're still not in the square, so black is still winning. No.
Unbelievably, I just... Nothing is... No blunders available.
Yeah.
But she's just searching if there's any line where something like this suddenly is a draw, you know. Just that's what she's thinking.
I mean, yeah. The right approach to try to defend these positions is always to try to play one more move where you don't see a clear win. This might be or you don't see the win until the end or something like that, but this might be a situation where she just doesn't have any more options, where she doesn't see how black is just winning very easily immediately. Like, for example, after f5, if it's very easy to just see this, and how should she draw here? It's just no way.
Yeah, there's just really no... There can be no hope, like no illusion that it could be a draw.
You can stop the pawn. You can always stop the one pawn with a knight, but you can never take the other pawn. Like, of course, this is a very known pawn endgame, where you can never take this pawn on h5 because the other one promotes. Yeah.
And we have also the biggest time advantage by Zhu and Jun in this match that has been so far. So that's also important to note. Like, we did catch yesterday like 30 seconds. In one moment was more for Zhu and Jun, but yeah, now it's already 2 minutes.
Wow. Yeah. That was the only times. Didn't she in the first game? Did she surprise her in the opening? And I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably she
Actually,
had
on
like 5 minutes advantage there or something.
On the very first moves, maybe at some point. Yeah. I'm not sure.
But I think Tan also reacted quite quickly, so probably not too much. Okay, King f6 was played.
Oh, okay, that's on the... Wow, okay.
That makes sense. Yeah, we maybe not searching hard enough for resources for white. We didn't see this move.
Of course, we can get this, and get the same position if you want to.
Yeah. Or
But
probably
also
knight f3.
Knight f3, just stop king g5. King g6?
h4. I'm going
sure
with g3 and g2.
What did we win by this king moves? Like, what idea did we find by moving the king?
Okay, I mean, at least she can hope for like king c2 or something. At least she's playing a move where black can blunder, probably.
Can I go b4?
Yes, yes.
So we just
still,
keep pushing,
still
right?
winning. Yeah, white is too slow.
Completely dominated knight and just going and going and going.
Yeah. No, wait. 96. You might lose here.
I gotta still be careful. Ooh.
Oh, yeah, you have to be careful. I don't know, maybe king d3 is still possible.
King d3, knight b5, king e4, yeah, play this endgame.
But how does...
Put the
that's
king.
probably also winning. Incredible. Like this. And then you go h4.
No, h4, really? Is this gonna
No?
be winning? Can't we like now triangulate or something somehow? With h4, like here, and we don't get to f3.
But g3. King h3. Ah, maybe not. Ah, knights. What? So,
Oh,
oh,
wait,
this is a draw?
what happens? Knight c4.
Ah, you go back? I don't understand. What happens here?
I take the pawn and give some checks, no?
Ah, you have knight d1. Uh,
You don't have king f1 and I just come king
mm-hmm.
h2.
Yeah. Yeah, this pawn against knight can be a bit tricky sometimes. Like this knight d6 move, you don't really expect it. But this is something that I learned recently. When you want to stop these pawns, when the pawn races against knight, often you need to go with the knight far away to come back close.
So this is
Yeah.
it winning then or not? Just for the curiosity, since we don't have to. No, this is not. King g3 how to play, right? Here, here. Knight b1, probably the only move. And if we somehow make a triangle and do h4 with a knight being on different square somewhere, like king f6
Yeah.
or something, like you get a stand, right? King e6,
Mm-hmm.
you get a
Yeah,
stand,
knight b1.
and
I guess knight
now,
c3 or something.
but then we don't have a fork on c4 if knight is on c3.
Yeah. Or knight d2.
And on knight d2, no h4,
Ah,
and
now white is in Zugzwang, yeah.
yeah, we can't skip a move.
You need to play knight b1. And then there's g3.
Or king f3. I
But
guess, yeah.
these endings are very complicated.
But it should be
No, it
winning
should
with
be
the
winning.
so few
Yes.
squares in between the promotion already.
But you still need to be a bit careful.
Maybe like this.
Yes. Even though knight e4.
Oh, come on.
Okay, slowly king d3. At some point,
Oh, okay.
it's enough.
No squares anymore. Yeah.
Okay, but something happened in the game. She played knight f3.
And h4. Knight f3, f5, h4.
Yeah, now just g3 is coming. Difficult to say how white will try to promote the pawn. Probably king. The thing is, after king e6, there's knight d4 even. So you kind of need to play king e7 or something.
Would be well if, like in checkers, now the pawn from f5 would jump to f7. Just kind
That
of
would be nice.
jump over.
That would be a very strong move. Or even better to g7 and then promote with check. Okay, I
Yeah,
don't
but
know. Maybe
it's
king
just hard to
e7.
imagine any ideas.
King e7 only try maybe g3, f6, and knight e5, right?
But we can even still do this.
Ah, even g2.
Because
Yes.
we have the fork.
Okay, but white can just do this. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's not really enough. Maybe black can promote to a stronger piece. It's possible.
I think black promotes to a bishop and then grind out another winning endgame.
Yeah, promoting to a bishop would be enough. But then you still need to show maybe bishop and knight checkmate. Yeah. But yeah, nothing to be done here.
King e7 did get played. G3 should come naturally. It's so clean move since knight cannot stop
now
the
it's
pawn.
really probably the end. This knight e5 idea this might force resignation in the end. She already played g3.
Yeah.
Right?
And she probably is just gonna play knight e5 here. Not bother with anything, even.
Yeah. Because if g2, white could try knight d2. The problem is, first of all, you don't have enough material. Second of all, maybe queen c5 exchanges the queens.
Yeah, even that is there.
Yeah. But at least you got to promote your pawn. Yeah, right now the pawn is just unstoppable. She might also resign in this position, but okay, why not still to play f6? If you already got here, but there's no route to protect g1 anymore with the knight. Knight g5 is protected. And how else to stop the pawn?
So maybe if this happens, then here, but she would still do this. And try to find some sort of path to attacking the knight.
Ah, yes. That's true.
Although doesn't seem to
you
be.
can protect the knight. But then knight f4 with king d4.
I actually thought that like here we have a lot of those squares where to jump around, and we are just only one square away from queen.
Yeah, I think this is actually a typical idea. If f7, b4, king f6, and now if knight f8. Now white cannot really chase the knight. This is a typical idea. If king g7, knight d7, and if king e7, knight h7. But I think she will just play g2, honestly.
Yeah, it seems
knight
cleaner.
e5. Because you just need to calculate this f7, knight e5, and basically you can stop your calculation.
Yeah, all the checks, c5, d2, they don't do very much. The thing about these positions is that it's very, very straightforward to calculate it already now. It's like, I go there, my opponent goes there. It's not like there's on every move there is a branch with 5 different options that could happen.
Yeah.
So it's very... You're calculating it probably like already 5, 10 times and so on if you're checking it.
Yeah. This might be very close to resignation. f6 still happened. Probably she will just play quite fast now. Okay. You need to double check if you play g2 that it's really a fork in the end on g6. But
This is the last moment to think in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, no other moves really come to mind with any sort of sense except knight e5 or g2. Now coming with a king c2 or something would be very, very strange. Like, it's
Yeah.
winning, but it's just very strange to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you can promote your pawn in 2 moves, she will just do it. Yeah, she
Oh,
played
she did it.
g2.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just very forcing. This is of course very easy for a player of her level. She would probably see this in a bullet game. This 95 idea.
And okay, she's gonna check still knight d2, some checks or something, but
she will play f7, I think. Probably knight d2, knight f3 you can still get. But the problem is, okay, black will just take it. It's too many pawns. You even don't need the b pawn here.
yeah, you don't really need.
You also don't need the h pawn. You could also survive
Exactly.
without that. Yeah.
Or you don't need a g pawn.
Yeah.
Simply you have too many pawns.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's a long, long end game with not too much action at
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
What do you expect in the next game with white? Like last game, Tan played the Khan Sicilian, but in the first game she played knight f6 instead of a6. So I thought she wanted to go for this 4 knight Sicilian, but that also has some kind of drawish reputation. So I don't know. Maybe she might go for some complete surprise in the first move
Oh,
here.
there's resignation.
Okay. Yeah.
So the Ju and Joan wins the game with black pieces and takes the lead in match 4-2. Now it's the first half of the match is over, and they are gonna be switching from Shanghai to Chongqing and resume in 2 days. So now 2 3 days, and they play the next round on Sunday. And yeah, just about what you mentioned on ask the question about the openings. Yeah, I just think that why she is choosing different sort of setups in Sicilian is that it's very tough to learn all the Sicilian like this from the white side, and I think she's
Mm-hmm.
just trying to get go to some interesting sidelines in different setups that the Ju and Jun, by not being really an e4 player, might not be so familiar with, and
Yeah.
just
I think she might continue that approach, maybe the Taimanov or something. I mean, especially now when she's down 2 points in the match, these Sicilians are very good opening to try to get some fighting positions where you
but
get
that's of
some winning
course if
chances as well.
we still see e4 being played by Ju and Jun at all.
That's true. She might actually switch to d4
Or some
because she knows it
English.
better and can be solid. Maybe next game she will play e4 still. She might,
Yeah,
yeah, who knows? Yeah.
but very, very convincing performance again by Ju and Jun. That seemed like in the middle game, she a little bit let the advantage slip, but the position stayed pleasant all the time. Like just slightly, slightly more pleasant, and she capitalized on the strategical endgame mistake very convincingly.
Yeah. To be honest, it's not so easy to pinpoint an exact moment where White went wrong in the middle game where she even got to a worse position. It's just she exchanges strong bishop on g2, maybe some inaccurate moves, and she already had a nice position, and then she decided to, instead of this g4 option earlier in the game, she decided to just go for a safe option to play for two results, and it worked out. So very, very strong play from her. I agree.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens on the second half of the match. Will be interesting to see if especially in the first two games, Han Zhongyi is gonna manage to strike back, get at least one, win back at least 1 point or no, and how much of an intrigue we will still have left in this match. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see. But now,
yeah, it could go both ways. Like it can easily go like the Carlsen against Nepo match, where he was leading by 2 points, and then it just increases. Or if the challenger strikes back, it can get very close again. Of course.
okay, and we're finishing our broadcast with that. Thank you, Rasmus, for joining today, and especially under these very, very complicated circumstances and so on with the technical difficulties. And so it was pleasure having you here.
Thanks so much for having me on. It was very, very fun to commentate with you.
And goodbye everybody, and see you on Sunday for the round 7.